Good morning.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
It is April. What is today's date? April 17th, 2020.
17th.
I hope everybody's having a good day. We're going to get started here. I'd ask you to send out your 3 messages. I'd ask you to send out those 3 messages of love, of joy, of gratitude, of just thanksgiving, right? And those 3 messages go out to individuals that you are familiar with, people that you want to remind that you're thinking about them. You think they're pretty amazing. And what it does is it gives you space. And if you're new to the call, this is your first time on the call, feel free to drop a N in the chat. We'd love to welcome you and say thank you to you for being here today. We appreciate you and your energy and your time. I'd like to see if anybody had any ahas that popped up through them. Fridays, we start off that way. I'm going to talk a little bit about addiction to approval today. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I don't know. I was just seeing if anybody had anything pop up first.
I did.
Okay. What happened?
After the call yesterday, and I've been listening to Napoleon Hill, I realized that I have lived many lives, and that's okay. Babies grow, so do we. And we grow physically, but we also grow emotionally. But what has persisted, you said, who is Delia? Well, Delia is a visionary. Delia is always looking to see how she can make things better. And I have a great power to visualize what is not here. So without knowing, God gave me that talent, and I get things, not necessarily money, okay? But when I want something, it shows in my life. For example, my iPhone 11 showed up in my life 2 days ago. I had no intention to purchase that phone until 6 months from now. But how can I put it to you? The way that it came into my life was actually saving me money from Verizon, and I'm still in Verizon. Figure that out. And I don't want to go into the details. And the same thing, when I married for the second time, I said, being alone is not bad. I have a good time with my grandkids and my family, but there's more to life than just girlfriends and grandkids. and mother and father, they're not going to be here forever. It will be nice to remarry. And I just put that thought out in the universe, and it materialized within 4 years. I don't know. I can do it, and I need to do it persistently. I need to do it more. That's the focus. I need to do it for the things that I really want, because I can do it. And it's like almost, it's not programming me yet. And as I listen to Napoleon Hill, I see that all this can be programmed into my head, where I can do it and automatically, like if I want to do the dishes, I go and I get the soap and the brush and I get the glass washed. So what I'm learning is that what I've been doing accidentally in my head, I think it's accidental. No, what happens is I've done it because all of us have the power. However, I've done it for things that I put all that feeling forward. And then I said, oh, I'm not powerful enough. I'm not young enough. I'm not educated enough. I'm not pretty enough. And then I said, get out of here. This is not about the physical. This is about what we think about. So thank you for encouraging me to pick up that copy of Napoleon Hill again. Because it's like, I've heard it from Bob Proctor. I hear it from you. I hear it from Sharon. I hear it from Rhonda. I hear from maybe 25 mentors that I had within these past 15 years. Finally, I hope everybody gets it in 15 minutes here and not 15 years. God bless everybody.
Well, there you go. That just happened. This is what happens when we start to realize and we start to take a look at things, right? Dr. Wayne Dyer says, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Each one of you have the opportunity to decide in this moment, do you choose misery or do you choose joy? Regardless of what happened to us in our past, we've all had pasts we'd rather not have had. We've all had pasts we wish would be here forever. But the question is those are all gone. What do we do from this moment forward? How do we give up some of the old stories? And that's the addiction to approval. It's not something you can rip out from somebody unless, of course, there's a highly emotional, highly charged situation. Those things kind of wire in at a neural level in the brain, and that story's kind of stuck there. But these old little stories of you're not good enough and hearing no or negative 117,000 times by the time you're 18 in a reasonably positive household, that's tough. It's difficult. And it's every little thing. It's the slightest conversation that you have with yourself and you have with others. Remember, a lot of times our feelings aren't what they say about us. It's what we say about them what we say about ourselves once they leave. So I see a couple more hands up here where I'm going to go to those in just a second. I'd write down today's date. What is today's date? April 17th, 2020. The question is how much of yesterday will you decide to bring with you? We have on average 70,000 thoughts a day, 70,000 thoughts a day. We're conscious of anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000. Thinking of 3,000 to 5,000 thoughts, that's a lot of awareness. Just try to count to 5,000. And you'll see how fast this all happens. Try to count to 70,000. You'll be surprised at how many things are happening at a subconscious level without us even aware of it. So if you just take at the end of every hour, ask yourself, did I move closer towards my goals or farther away? And this is regardless of your location, right? Regardless of if you're home doing your work or working online, or you're not at home, or you're at home but you don't have your job because your job was a service job and you just can't do it now. You still have a choice. I was the MC of an event last night, an online event for 9 world changers, 9 thought leaders. And this woman had started this a couple of years ago in 2017, started this community called Dragonfly Mind. And the MC they had an emergency, and they called me on Tuesday and they asked me to MC this event last night. And there were world changers, and it didn't matter, powerful, strong women. A woman had a modeling agency out in California. Another one was a book writer. There was a guy who just started a network marketing company. There was a international platform speaker, front of the room speaker trainer, salespeople, personal development coach. All of them had the same thing. All of them had the same 26 letters in the alphabet. They all gave you great how-tos. They all gave you great what to do's. And the reality is that it all comes back to you. Like Delia said, I'm reading the book. It's about feeling. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Become aware and grow rich. That's why I started the companies I have. One of them is called Mental Profits. Your thoughts create your income. What 3 things do you say good to yourself every hour? What 3 things do you say good to yourself every minute? Because if you're not, you're saying a couple of thousand things every minute to yourself from yesterday that you're not good enough, tall enough, short enough. You didn't do enough yesterday. How many of you went to bed saying I didn't get enough done? How many of you woke up saying I didn't get enough sleep? This is how we start the conversation. How many of you hit the snooze button on your alarm clock? If you hit the snooze button on your alarm clock, that's the start of the addiction to approval. What? What are you talking about? Oh, well, 5 more minutes. It says my first decision to set the alarm, I don't agree with it. How many of you set the alarm to set the second alarm so that you could snooze? That's the start to addiction. I'm kidding myself that I can get up then, but I really didn't need to get up then. I needed to wake myself up. And you just start this whole story of I'm not good enough. Anything I tell myself isn't good enough. How many of you say it's hard to get some sleep? It's I need a lot of sleep, but you go to bed at midnight, but you got to get up at 4 a.m. to get to the airport, and you'll get up at 4 a.m. And it's like, and you'll be up before 4 a.m. because you don't want to miss the plane. This whole idea of not getting up to take care of yourself, that's the start of the story. Most people wouldn't tell you that. Most coaches wouldn't tell you that. Most trainers wouldn't tell you that, because that's something you can fix tomorrow. You don't need to buy a $497 package. Why do we do that to ourselves? Because we don't think enough of ourselves. Yeah, but Sean, let's just skip over getting up in the morning. There's really nothing more important. The idea that you can set an alarm and then choose not to agree to it. What do you think that says about every other decision you're going to make in your life? Listen, it is that simple. How many of you, I'd ask you to drop a D in the chat, but how many of you, I've said this many times, dry yourself off differently every day? How many of you have started to do that, but you've gone back to your pattern? Do you dry yourself off differently? Some of you might be new to the chat. I tell you every morning, dry yourself off differently. Every day, differently. Every day, do it differently. Just absolutely differently. Think of something. You could dry yourself off and start singing, and that's different. Oh, these things are stupid, getting up when the alarm goes off and dry yourself off differently. Listen, how many of you are writing your goals down with your non-dominant hand? How many of you heard that from Bob Proctor? You're hearing that from Bob Proctor to do that, to shake up your mind. Well, why not do everything? Yeah, if it's working, I'd stop doing it. You know I love you, Steph. You know why you stopped doing it? Because you're addicted to approval. It's insidious. It's worse than any drug. It's stronger than any drug. Well, alternate counts, but do you do that all day long? Do you do that throughout the day? And I'm not sure what you're alternating.
Writing hands.
All day long, or just an hour a day?
Okay, fine, Sean. Just like maybe a few times a day. Not like for a full hour, but I'll do better.
Okay, well, but the thing is that you can start it off in that hand, write one word
Sure.
on it and break it up. But here's the thing, unless you take control of you, there's not a single lesson in the world that can help you.
Very true.
And this is great. Great question. Addicted to whose approval? The answer to that would be everyone's. Everyone's. It's not an individual approval. You're addicted to everyone's approval. Listen, think about what you have on right now. Think about what you have on right now, what you're wearing. If any of you made your own clothes, and there might be somebody here, if any of you made your own clothes, type the word clothes in the chat. Some of you may have made your clothes, but if none of you made your clothes, because I know I didn't, I'm addicted to approval. I like this shirt. This is somebody else's idea of a shirt. This is somebody else's idea of a shirt. So all of the clothes you have on, David Chandler, you made them? No. So whatever you don't have that you didn't make is an addiction to approval. It's okay. Listen, we're all at a 10. We're all at a 10. I'm going to say 7. We're all at a 7. If it's 1 out of 7, we're all at a 7. We're at a 6.8. 200,000 individuals surveyed. We're all at a 6.9, 6.8. You just don't know it. That's how strong the addiction is. The shoes you wear, are those yours or are they, ooh, those are the fly ones. Can I say that? Those are the fly ones. Those are shoes that we that we bought because they were on sale. They were this, they were that. Anything that you have, the clothes, the furniture you have in your house is an addiction to approval. No, it's not. I need it. Hey, did you buy what you liked or did you buy what you didn't like? The phone you have, addiction to approval. Did you buy what you like or did you buy what you didn't like? If you buy things you like, that's to serve this need that I have. I want things in my life I like. Yeah, but that's not an addiction, really. Why do you think there's 75 different peanut butters? Why do you think Netflix is such a powerful tool? It gives you the choice to let you watch what you want. Why do we have 485 cable channels and everybody says there's nothing on? Why do 80% of self-help books never get opened, never get read, never get finished? Why do we buy a self-help book and never read it twice or 3 times or 10 times or 20 times? You say the same cuss words 20 times in a day. You complain about the same things 20 times in a day. It's called programming. Addiction to approval is insidious. Let me tell you how it starts. We come out of the womb and we become aware. And we become aware of there's certain ways that we can get things. How do we know when a baby wants to eat? You could be a mom, you could be a dad, you could have been a baby at some time. How do you get something to eat? You cry. So we know that if we cry, we get something to eat. Do you think there's a pattern that sets up there that, oh, wait a minute, if I do that, I get something to eat? Do you think that there's a cause and effect that starts from crying? Do you think that wires into that child's mind who doesn't speak language, who doesn't communicate, knows it has a need? I got to make some kind of noise. And if I make some kind of noise, this one's good enough. Listen, a baby doesn't mind its crying. Does a baby mind its own crying? Does it go, I wish I would just be quiet? No, a parent does that. Oh my God, the baby's crying again. Ugh. So the baby cries, it learns that. Then is there a special chip you got to put in a baby to teach it to laugh or teach it to smile? How does it know how to laugh? How does it know how to smile? mirror neurons. But it also makes the baby feel good, right? If you smile, if you just start smiling, you just start laughing. If you just started laughing, doesn't that make you feel good? Now the chemicals in the brain are starting to be created. You realize there's not a single sound that gets inside a head. You realize there's not a single thought that gets inside a head. It's all chemicals. And your brain is producing these chemicals right now. Some of you are agreeing. Some of you are agreeing to disagree. Some of you are like, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just going to sit here because I'm watching something else on another tab on my computer. So as you go along, you start to smile, you start to laugh. Everybody realizes life's pretty cool when we're laughing. Right? And so now we learn that laughter is a good thing. Then we realize when we start to be able to do things, we realize that if we do things on command, life's a lot easier. If we go sit down when we're told, if we smile when we're told, if we eat when we're told, do you realize you become a slave? You were told exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it. You were told how to learn. You were taught how to speak with the accent that's familiar of that or your family. You are absolutely a little tiny itty bitty slave. When you're 2 years old and 3 years old, you're told what to wear, where to go, how to go, when, what to say, what not to say, how to show up, when to show up. Your life is not your own. Well, they're a child, they're a baby. Exactly. So how do they learn all of this? How do they learn all of this when they're can't take care of themselves? By people who may have fallen a little short of their own goals in their life. People who have fallen short based upon prejudice and race and creed and color. And they're taught the best that they can based upon their experience. And then we grow up and we complain about our parents. Our parents did the best they could with what they had, with what they knew. Do you think your parents had a life different than their parents? I think there's very few parents that say, I want my kids to have less than me. I'm sure there's a couple of them out there, but most say I want them to have more. And then when you go off and have more, when you start to have more, when you start to become more, at 5 years old and at 6 years old, you're doing things that they never did. You have technology they never had. You have toys they never had. You have friends they never had. They have all of this. Everything is moving at a breakneck pace into the unknown. And the only way they can coach and teach is from their known. Because their idea is to protect you. And there's things you do, you get yelled at. There's things that you're told. How many times do you think you were told no? You've heard the number 117,000 times by the time you're 18 in a reasonably positive household. Think about any child you've been around. Think about any youngster you've been around. Just count the time, the time negative conversation is said to that child in direction. No, stop, don't. Count. You'll wear out pens and pencils and you'll go through notebooks like crazy. And this, we haven't even gotten to school yet, where we start to get into cliques and we start to get into groups and we start to get into, we got to get the teacher's approval. And all of a sudden now we go to school, we go to kindergarten. And if we take somebody's toys, we take somebody's building blocks, we get told, just share. They took them from me. I wanted them back. We should share. We should share. Sharing is good. But we're just told, give them up. Every time I get something good, somebody else takes them. Any of you have brothers or sisters like that? If you're babies, some of you might have been the older brother and sister, and you could take care of them. You see how this starts to get wired into you and you haven't even had your first job or your first relationship? And then comes along that one time where you're made to look like a fool, made to feel like an idiot in school. Either you did something wrong, you answered a question wrong. Stupid farm boy. You wrote, your your test came back and you messed everything up and you got a D, and the teacher walks by and goes, listen, the last test I have has a big old D on it. I wonder whose paper that could be. And everybody goes, it's Sean's. Tell me that doesn't sink in. Some of you have had this happen. And this is just you. You want me to let you in on the scientific side of this? How when people say you do things just like your grandpa does and you've never met your grandpa, you do things like your Uncle Joe and you never knew Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe died many years ago. It's because we are all wired together. We are of the DNA of our parents. And who are they a DNA of? Their parents. And who are they a DNA of? Their parents. And who are they a copy of? Their parents. And who are they a copy of? Their parents. What happens when you make a copy of 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 a copy? There, you can see it there, but it's starting to change a little bit, isn't it? Some parts are getting fuzzy. Depends how good the copy machine is. So the reason that you do things like your parents, the reason that you walk like your parents, the reason that you look like your parents, the reason that you talk like your parents, the reason that you think like your parents is because that's what your programming came from. And if they had a less than perfect life, that's where you're starting off. And every time they have a thought, guess what shows up in your body? And every time you have a thought, guess what shows up in your body? That's how your mother can call you and go, are you okay? What are you talking about, Mom? I'm fine. How does she know? Is she a witch? This whole idea that you think you can talk yourself out of this is true until you go, I can't talk myself out of this. I'm not good enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not strong enough. You have to literally rewire, and this detox that it takes to detox yourself, it's worse than any drug you could ever come off of. Because at least with alcoholism, most kids aren't drinking alcohol. Some kids come out of the womb from a mom who was either on drugs or alcohol or something. But usually from the ages of at least 6 to 8, 6 to 9, you're not drinking. But you are being programmed to addiction to approval. You're being taught what you like. You're being taught what's good and what's not good based upon previous experiences. We do it for protection. So how do we begin to break that? It's a painful process. You've witnessed some people go through this, and it's taken them months just to get to a place to where they can agree that it's okay for them to grow. So the idea that, yeah, Dr. Joe Dispenza is great. You know who else is great? Socrates, Plato, Epictetus. That's where Dr. Joe learned it from. He's doing a lot of great stuff with technology right now. But it's the reason that they have so many tests when they run through technology, because they're actually able to see the results from thought and from ideas and from ideals, the worthy pursuit of an idea. Is because every unique individual, and where are all of these people breaking through from Dr. Joe's studies is when they get into high meditation. And they even found that walking meditation works. When we do less, we become more. So there's all of this stuff that's going on right now that's causing us to buy the next book, get the next tape, listen to the next seminar. And we keep piling it on top of a sandy foundation. We've all heard the phrase, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. To detox yourself from the addiction to approval is worse than any drug you could ever come off of. Because at least the drug, you can stop taking it. At 70,000 thoughts a day, it's kind of hard to stop taking, you're no good, you're not good enough. An old boyfriend says, you're an idiot, you're not worth anything. An old girlfriend says, you're a loser. A best friend becomes a best enemy. There's a common theme to a lot of these situations. And the theme is you. Yeah, but why don't they? Why don't you? Yeah, but they did. How come you did? There is no economy out there. There's only your economy. Epictetus said this. Decide what's within your circle of influence and what's outside of it. And once you decide that, go ahead and pick up desire. You'll never have another bad day again. Why are we drinking the poison, getting mad and frustrated, thinking they're going to die? And some of you are putting up a fight right now. That's okay. Ain't my circus, not my monkeys. Right now, we're coming out of something on a global scale that's going to require some new eyes. You could be it. Everybody is getting pushed into a corner based on time. Can't go to work. What do? I got to do something different. And when people get pushed into a corner, my daddy said, never argue with never fight with a coward. They'll kill you on the way out. They may not be able to stand up for themselves, but they have held it in for so long. If you push the right button, and when they do unleash, and when they do unlock, and when they do explode, they will literally crush you on the way out. And they will wonder where all that strength has been the entire time. This is why you have arguments. Because you can't talk. You can't have a conversation. Your frustration is built up. And a lot of times you just came from the airport. Anybody ever come from the airport with the wrong bag? I'd be curious if anybody's ever left the airport with the wrong bag. I have. I've done it in 7 countries. You open it up and you go, this ain't my stuff. Guess what? You woke up this morning with the wrong bag. This ain't my stuff. You didn't decide to return it. And for the last umpteen years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, you've been waking up with the wrong bag and going, I got the same crap I got yesterday. Dang it. All right, I guess I'll suffer through life. In this moment, right now, in this moment, you have a choice. Go buy all your new stuff in your mind or complain about the stuff you got. What are you going to do? Well, it's not that easy. You're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. You know what the best thing, you know where do you go if you want to get off of drugs, where do they take you? Right? If you're really bad, they take you to the hospital to monitor you. But then you go where? Where do you go after the hospital? They find you passed out in a gutter, and they take you in and they clean you up, and then they send you to rehab. Rehabilitation. You know what the problem is with rehabilitation? Is they want to get you back into becoming rehabitualized. They want to get you back to a normal a normal that you know. That'd be like me going to a concealed carry training and giving a gun to a child to teach me how to become a concealed weapons carrier. How many of you would love to be trained by a concealed weapons carrier who's 4 years old? How many of you would, well, no, wait a minute, Sean, they're experts. They're experts at getting you back to what's called a normal. Their responsibility is to get you to where you just get back to where you can have a conversation on a daily basis and you can go someplace and say, I'm an addict. I agree. AA, one of the best programs in the world. Absolutely. Al-Anon. Great programs. Wildly intelligent individuals who guide you through the process. The question is can you make the decision? Well, how does every addict wind up getting help? There's a phrase they use. Well, they're not ready for help. They got to what? They're not ready for help. Only when they fill in the blank will they get help.
Hit rock bottom.
Hit rock bottom. You want to know what that is in the entrepreneurial world? I had $1 million and I lost it all. That'll piss you off enough to go, I ain't going to do that again. I've lost multiple millions. You're really an addict to approval. You really got an addiction. You make $1 million and you blow it. I have some very dear friends who are part of the NFL. And the NFL about 7 years ago started a division most people will never hear about. And the division they started is how do they keep these young kids from being stupid? Literally hiring a coach to walk with each of them so that they don't keep giving the NFL a bad name. The NFL hires these people to monitor these kids. They get a payday of $20 million. They buy their mom a house, they buy their mom and dad a car, and then what happens to the rest of it? Because, and then I don't know if you've ever seen these movies where you're trying to tell these young kids who all of a sudden got all this money and it's kind of hard to tell them what to do because they want the approval of their friends. They go out and they buy these cars and they do these things and all of a sudden they're invincible and they're infallible and they wind up in jail. Yeah, exactly, Amy. That's the show I'm talking about. But when I was in high school, I had dear friends who they were the agents for some of the biggest names in sports, across all sports, hockey, football, soccer, baseball, out of Cleveland. I mean, the big names of the names. He was their agent. And the stories of just stupidity, the calls in the middle of the night, the payoffs here and the payoffs there, just because people are stupid and people will look the other way. How many of us look the other way when we get recognition and we get rewards? Why do you think they give us pins in our businesses? Because we're performing at a way they want us to perform. So the question then becomes, what are you addicted to? The answer is everything. You're addicted to wonderful things. You're addicted to bad things. You've just found, here's why everybody uses this word: balance. Balance. I need to find balance in my life. If you're looking for balance in your life, you better go join the circus. There is no such thing as balance in your life. There isn't. It's impossible to have balance in your life. Well, I want to go after the next goal. Well, you're going to be so out of balance going for your next goal, it's not even funny. I need to spend time with my kids. You're going to be so out of balance in the other areas of your life, but it's okay to be out of balance. That's the illusion. That's the addiction. I need to be good in all areas of my life. I need to be a good mom. I need to be a sexy wife. I need to be a good entrepreneur. I need to be good in my church. I need to be good in my community. Listen, you're going to suck at one of them. Otherwise, you're going to go insane. Decide what you want to be great at. Listen, there's 9 players on the baseball field. You ever figure out why? It's pretty common sense. I've never heard of anybody in the however many years baseball's been around. So what position do you play? Pitcher? Oh, what position do you play? Catcher? I've heard that at T-ball. I haven't heard that at the major leagues. I haven't heard it where people who fail 7 times out of 10 get paid multiple millions of dollars. And if you go from 300 to 350, there's a couple more millions of dollars. When you play at the excellent level, when you play at the world-class level, Olympians, the only sport is the decathlon. And I guess they still have that, right? But that's 10 sports. But I bet if you took somebody in the decathlon and took them out of that one sport and put them against somebody that just does that sport, what do you think the chances are who would win? So how many things are you working at? How many things do you not even know you're not even working at? Well, I want to get better in my business. What does it take? Well, I got to learn a script. No, you got to learn how to speak. You got to learn how to say hello. You got to learn how to say hello that people will fall in love with you. How many times have you practiced on just saying hello? Anybody ever teach you how to say hello? Anybody ever teach you how your eyebrows should move and how you should move your lips and how you should breathe when you say hello? But you've bought many of books and you bought plenty of tapes and you've listened to plenty of seminars and you said, I'm going to do like they do. They're making 7 figures. I want to be like them. I'm going to go get a tattoo. I'm going to go buy a suit and wear those shoes and get that watch. How'd that work out for you? That's like going to get a big sail and there's no wind. I got the sail. Yeah, but you're not moving. Yeah, I'm a good multitasker. Thanks, RC. Darren Hardy. Anybody know Darren Hardy? Anybody ever hear that name? So some of you have heard Darren Hardy. You know why? Yeah, Jim Rohn's mentee. You're absolutely right. You know why you heard Darren Hardy? He's made millions and millions of dollars. He ain't giving any of that money to his nieces and nephews. He doesn't have any children. He's not giving any of that money to his nieces and nephews. He got great at one thing. Just one thing. His one thing. He interviewed hundreds of mentors. Success Magazine. He did one thing. He blocks out chunks of 90 minutes, power hours, right? 90 minutes, power time. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's the modern Napoleon Hill. He's definitely not that. My perception. My perception. Because Darren is very, very recluse. Buddy of mine, Kyle Wilson has just did a podcast with Darren. And the reason he did a podcast with Darren, because Darren does not give out any accolades. You don't see Darren Hardy talking about anybody. He doesn't give testimonials away. So Kyle Wilson helped Darren Hardy when Darren Hardy was getting started because of Kyle's association with Jim Rohn. So they just did a podcast together. But it is very deliberate. It is very specific. How many of you make your bed in the morning? Just little simple things like that. How many of you journal every day? So Dakaya, if you were to tell me it depends on the day, I would say, so it depends on the day you want success or not.
Absolutely.
Right? Listen, this is not a dress rehearsal. Every breath we take is one breath closer to the grave and one breath closer to our legacy starting. I want to build a legacy. Well, you can't build it till you're gone. It doesn't start till you're gone. So right now, if you left yesterday, how's your legacy doing? What have you given yourself away time for? What have you given up on? What have you said, I'll start tomorrow? What have you said that I will start tomorrow, and tomorrow doesn't show up? This is addiction to approval. This whole idea that we can't be. The challenge is when we get there, how are we going to feel? If you believe in the law of attraction, and I believe most of you do, it's a law. It's not a maybe kind of sort of rule. It is a law of attraction. There's 7 universal laws. Energy is, law of opposites. So Delia says, when you say hello, what do you mean? No, there's 17 ways to say hello, and that's just an AT&T telemarketing seminar training. The energy with which you say hello determines the whole rest of the conversation. And you know what? You can say hello in person. Where else can you say hello? With everything that we have, technology that we have available today. Can't we do it in text? Instant messenger? See, there's a 3-dimensional version of our words that we're saying right now. You're hearing my 3-dimensional word through a 2-dimensional medium. But when you take a 3-dimensional conversation and turn it into a 2-dimensional page, and it gets read, there's words to be read and there's words to be said. The two shall not be mixed. Imagine how many of you have ever gotten a text from your mom or your dad and they said hello with like 6 question marks. And you're like, oh, you can actually hear the sarcasm in their voice. Anybody ever get a text like that from somebody? Yeah, so if you got a text like that from somebody, how did you hear their voice in your head? And it's ink, it's not even ink, it's pixels on a screen, and you got ticked off because you saw their text come in. Welcome to my world. That's addiction to approval. So here's the reality. Yeah, so here's the reality. You send a message to somebody, you just triggered their addiction to approval. It's one of those things. They're one of this. I wonder what they want. And you triggered a thought. Listen, when we meet in person, we've known each other here. But when we meet in person for the first time, in the first 5 seconds, no fewer than 105 decisions you will make about me. And I will make about you. Some of them will be based on our conversations from these calls and these dialogues and watching me. But when you get into the physical realm with somebody, no fewer than 105 decisions. And then what happens is you spend the rest of the time of that first encounter deciding whether or not you believed any of those or if they're true. And if they are true and you like them, tackle hug. I'm looking forward to it. When then you spend the rest of the time confirming or denying that. How many times have you met somebody? How many times have you met somebody? No, Delia, it's 100% nonverbal cues. We operate off a nonverbal. That's the illusion. When you see your grandkids and they're telling you something, you know they're lying. They don't have to tell you anything. It's 100% is what we operate off of, cues and common sense. So any of you ever met somebody? Man, they sounded right. They seemed right. They looked right. They did right. But in your gut, you go, I don't know. There's something wrong about that. There's something crazy about that. And then later on, 2 months later, 4 months later, they turned out to be the big a-hole that they showed up, right? Because they had put on a good mask. You got to follow your gut. You got to ask yourself, what am I hearing? What am I feeling? What am I seeing that's not being seen? What's the unseen? Now, there's people who are jerks, but whenever they show up around you, they just love to be in your energy. They just need to be in your world. And they show up and they say, and they change around you. Your energy changes them. Your energy draws them out. Your energy puts them at a higher level. And here's the biggest reality. Y'all ready for this? Y'all sitting down? How many of us change around people? How many of us change around people? We choose not to say certain things. We know that'll send them off into a rage. We choose to show up looking a particular way. We choose to be a way that it makes them feel good. Welcome to addiction to approval. I don't do that. Okay, you're right. I'm rich. When you begin to understand and work on this, this is not something you do in a day. It's not something you do in a week. It's not even something you do in a year. You know why most people go to their grave still addicted to approval after they read 600 self-help books and attended 1,000 seminars and spent $300,000 on training, $1 million on training? Is because they then choose to show up a way that everybody else needs to see them so that they can get validation. What happens when you show up at your highest self? What happens when you begin to operate at a level of peace and joy? What happens when you operate at your highest level of awareness? If the statement that Jim Rohn said, money is only how much value you bring to the market. Who needs to be told what to do? That's called prison. Who needs to be told they're not doing the right thing? That's called school. Who needs to be told they're not good enough? That's called relationships. Every time you say these things, you trigger all of these old memories that somebody has had. The childhood, and it's happening at a subconscious level. They don't even know it's happening. You don't even know you're doing it. And then all of a sudden you wonder why they walk away, and you go, this would be so good for them. I don't know why they didn't get it. You know why they didn't get it? Because what you handed them was something they didn't want to get. How do you break all of this? You start to listen. What vibration does your voice have when you're speaking to a customer? When you're speaking to a prospect? Does your voice change? Does the sound of your voice change when you talk to family members as when you talk to business people? Do you smile more when you talk to business people? Do you smile more when you talk to your family? Do you smile at all when you talk to your family? Do you realize that if you divide 70,000 thoughts a day into the 24 hours and into 60 minutes, 14,000 words a minute can go through your head. 14,000 words a minute. You can think, you can speak 300 words a minute, 400 words a minute. If maybe you're the guy that does the car commercials, the disclaimers at the end, although that's a normal voice, just speed it up. 14,000 words a minute. You can't even pay attention to that. That's happening in between my words. What's some of the Buddhist sayings? It's not the bars that hold the tiger. It's the space between the bars that holds the tiger. It's the space between the bar that holds the tiger. It's not the bars. The bar's not big enough to hold the tiger. It's the space between the bars that holds the tiger. Wallace D. Waddell says there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made that permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought held in this substance produces the thing held by the thought. It's the space that causes us all this problem. It's the space between your awareness and your unawareness. It's the space between your conscious and your subconscious. You could take a golf ball, put it on top of any sports arena that you could think in your city, in your town, in your state, the biggest sports arena. We got the AT&T Stadium here. You take a golf ball, put it on top of the AT&T Stadium, that's your conscious mind. The stadium's your subconscious mind. Right? We've all seen the memes of the iceberg. This is the conscious mind. This is the subconscious mind. And what do we constantly work on? The conscious mind, the conscious mind. Buy another book, the conscious mind. Buy another book, the conscious mind. Get another script, the conscious mind. Let me attend another seminar, the conscious mind. Let me take notes and never read them again. The conscious mind, the conscious mind, the conscious mind. And the subconscious mind goes, feed me, Seymour. Because as soon as you get all this good stuff, as soon as you get all this good training, as soon as you get all this amazing content, and then you choose not to use it, you choose not to read it, guess what I get to say to you at a subconscious level? You took all those notes yesterday. You're such a dumbass. You didn't even do one thing on it. You didn't even do one thing. Are you kidding me? You'll never get ahead. What are you doing? Okay, let's show up tomorrow. Let's show up tomorrow. We're gonna do it tomorrow. Let's show up tomorrow. Show up tomorrow. Okay, we're here. We're ready. We got our pens. Let's go. Oh, this is good stuff. Oh my God, this is good stuff. You wouldn't believe it. And you take note after note after note. Why don't you take question after question after question and begin to answer them? Why are you taking my gold? You can't spend my gold. You can't spend my gold. Why are you taking my gold? You're not even taking it. You're taking a picture of it. You're taking a copy of it. When are you going to use your gold? Well, I'm not old enough to have gold. Yes, you are. You got life experiences. Well, how do I take those notes? That you're going to have to be taught. That's a lifetime process. You want to do it? I'll teach you. You want to understand how it works at a subconscious level? I'll teach you. Why do you think I give away 3 hours yesterday, 2 hours the day before? Because I'm trying to give you an insight so that you could at least maybe, possibly, slightly, maybe there's a chance someday, some way, somehow, you'll pick it up on your own and you'll luck into it like a lottery ticket and you'll go, oh, I got it. Why do you think I've spent 500 hours explaining this, getting this, saying the same thing over and over and over, hoping you get it? Some of you are. Some of you are just beginning to scratch the surface of it. Yeah, but how do I do it? That you've got to get immersed into a program. It's got to be customized. I'm doing Jim Rohn's The Birds and the Seeds and the Good Soil and the Sun. Some of you will get it. Some of it will land on fertile soil. Some of you are ready. The challenge is that I only have you. If I had you for 3 hours a day in a general conversation like this, still wouldn't be enough. Wouldn't be enough because it's not focused. I can do in 45 minutes what with a one-on-one that I can't do in a 3-hour conversation. There's too much energy, too much influence, too many stories. But one-on-one, we can do it. One-on-one, it can happen. So here's the question. Will you spend time one-on-one with you? Yeah, but I don't know what to do. Then you need a mentor. Whoever that is, I'd encourage you to find somebody who can guide you along that path. But this addiction to approval, I don't care what book you read. Listen, if I'm addicted to cocaine and I read Science of Getting Rich, does that get me off of my cocaine addiction? Do I take good notes while I'm on cocaine? And do I take good notes while I read the book? Do I immerse it? Can I read the book 10 times if I'm on cocaine? Well, is it ever going to get me off of my addiction? No, but I've got some great notes of how to be a better person who's on drugs. How many of us have ever had somebody who's an alcoholic in our home or somebody on drugs? Aren't they the sharpest SOBs in the world? Aren't they some of the smartest people in the world? You're like, how can you hide? Well, how did you even think to hide the vodka there? My mom's a genius too. I grew up the same way, Leo. Genius. My dad would go through the house and get the bottles, 6, 7 bottles of vodka, 8 bottles of vodka, 9 bottles of vodka, and then she'd still be drunk. It's like, where the hell do you hide this? Do you know how just absolutely incredible their mind must be? And the reason is because they become hyper-focused. Imagine if, wouldn't it be neat if we had that capacity? If we could have that capacity to do that. Man, if I could just turn that in, right? Y'all ever heard of Paulo Coelho, right? His book, Alchemy. That's what we do every time we go to mentor somebody. We're trying to be alchemists. Every book you read, you're trying to be an alchemist. And you're trying to take this lead that's in here, this gold in here, and take the lead you have by putting it in through your eyes and into this thing up here called your experience, and turn that old story into gold. You know why they mine? Did you ever see them do strip mining? Anybody ever seen strip mining? Not where you do it naked, but where you take the overburden off. I don't know. Maybe there's a show out there called strip mining. Maybe I missed it. It's got to be on cable somewhere. But they take off all the overburden. And they take off all the overburden to get down to the vein. You guys keep packing all of this great information you're learning on top of the overburden, on top of all of the stuff that's just not letting you get to your core. That's why when you see people have these breakthroughs, and you see the tears come out, that's the overburden going away. That's the old story going away. So the question is, are you ready to have your breakthrough? Are you ready to put time and money? See, you know why this is a two-edged sword, what I do here every day. And I have conversations all the time with my mentors, and they say, yeah, but you got to keep going. You got to keep going. I say, because it's free, there's no value. Because it's free, there's no value. You all know this. The air is free. That's why we pollute it. The water is free. It's why we pollute it. There's no value to it. Till boy, it's gone, and then all of a sudden it's not good. Listen, I don't know if Delia's old enough to on here. Joanne is old enough, and I say this with love, honor, and respect, but we used to drink out of a garden hose. Do y'all ever drink out of a garden hose? When you were growing up? I see Diane shaking her head. Yeah, well, we used to drink out of a garden. We used to go to neighbors' houses and drink out of garden hose. We used to go to the gas station and drink out of a garden hose. I dare you to do that today. You won't even go in the bathroom. And could you imagine 30 years ago, 40 years ago, somebody coming up to you going, hey, you want to invest in the future? What is that? It's a bottle. Yeah, but what's in it? Water. What? Yeah, water in a bottle. You want to get in on the front end of it? You want to get in on the front end of it? You water in a bottle. You ready? Are you nuts? And now it's a billion, trillion, I don't know, but multi-billion-dollar business. Hey, dude, you want to get in on it? It's called nutritionals. For what? We're going to screw up the soil so much that we're not going to be able to get any nutrition out of our food. We're going to all just eat empty food. Hey, you want to get on the next great thing? It's called personal development. Everybody's going to want it. Nobody's going to do shit with it, but everybody's going to want it. Hey, listen. You want to get in on the next big thing? The next big thing, it's called religion. Everybody's going to read it. It's the same book that's been around for years, but nobody's going to believe it. It's time to start thinking for yourself. You have been I have been programmed. We've all been programmed. I'm programming you right now. Not because of any other reason than it's for you to wake up to see the programming you're in. What does every addict have to admit? I have a problem. The question is when are you going to decide you're going to take care of you? When are you going to start investing in you enough that you start to see the returns you've made promises to yourself about? It ain't going to be another script. Because you could say the same things you're saying right now and you'll have 180 degrees of results. It's the essence. It's the essence. Why do you think women were made to wear makeup? Why do you think they do things to their hair? The curly ones want it straight. The straight ones want their hair curly. I mean, it's all about change. How would you like to be the makeup industry now? We said a long time ago, you haven't heard about these companies going out or probably asking for relief yet. Probably because they got so much money. But they said if every woman stopped wearing makeup for a week, there'd be billions of dollars of businesses collapse and collide and crash into the ground. Right now, not a whole lot of people are wearing makeup right now. Look at what's happening to gas. $1.20 a gallon. Last time I saw that, I was in high school on my way with my dinosaur to school to tell you how old I am. What does every addict say when they get out? What does every addict say when they get out of rehab? I'm never doing that again. How many of us have ever been drunk on a Sunday, hungover? I ain't never going to do that again. And because of the pain and because of the cost and, getting a DUI ain't a fun thing. It's 15 grand. And a buddy of mine had it and you got to go through this, that, and it was just a DUI. It wasn't even drinking. People who get multiple DUIs. There's a buddy on here, used to be on here all the time. Cadillac, 3 DUIs. That'll get you sober. He's been sober for now 18 years. But we go through this addiction to approval. It is insidious. Here's the thing. Just like any disease, if we give the body a chance, it'll fix it. It'll absolutely fix it. But we keep getting programs and we keep building up the addiction. How many of us know of the word tolerance? Right? How many of us know that if we have one beer today, we can get a little woohoo? But if we drink a beer tomorrow and we drink a beer the next day and we drink a beer the next day, don't we wind up losing our woo? So we go to 2 beers. We go to 3 beers. Man, he's Irish. He can drink a case. Tolerance. Some of you may not realize this, but you've built up a tolerance to your addiction to approval. It's why sometimes we lash out at people so that we can maintain that energy. It's why we lash out at ourselves so we can actually feel something. When you're at peace, is there anything to feel? When you're in pure joy, is there really anything to feel, or is it just the illusion? Is it just the fact that everything else is gone and at once you're at your normal state? This addiction to approval is real. And don't let go Google it. And you'll hear all of the psychology and you'll hear all of this stuff. It's when you get down to the people who have actually been on the front line of dealing with people and helping people through this. If I got bad wiring in the house, y'all realize there's wiring in your house, right? That goes to most of your electrical switches. Y'all got that, right? So if you got bad wiring in your house, does it matter if you change the switch on the plug on the light switch? You got bad wiring in your house. Well, the light's not working. Let me change the switch. Does that fix the bad wiring? No. Well, let me go out. Let me go out and change the source that's coming into the house. Let me go change all of the wiring on the telephone poles out there. Let me go change all the wiring out there. Let me put a new transformer in and everything else. And that should take care of the house. Does that fix the bad wiring in the house? The switch is you changing stuff. The switch is you starting to journal. The switch is you starting to get up earlier. The switch is you starting to do all of the things that you can do at a conscious mind. And going out and changing the source is you going to a seminar, you going to a webinar, you going to this, you listening to me. I'm the source outside, you listening to me. All of that does is give you a chance to have better connection, but you haven't changed the wiring in your house. Some of you have. That's some of the breakthroughs you have, but you've just started. You've changed just a couple of wires out in your house. This is an insidious thing. They don't want you to know about this. And whoever they is everybody that programs you. TV doesn't want you to know about this. Television doesn't want you to know about this. The movie industry doesn't want you to know about this. The banking industry doesn't want you to know about this. The credit card companies don't want you to know about this. Because you'd start to do some things a little bit differently. Dekaya, you got your hand up, my dear.
Good morning. Oh, okay, there we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow. Addiction to approval runs deep. Who knew?
Listen, addiction to approval runs back to the first person who had a conscious conversation in your family.
A conscious Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
So for how many generations did your family use English as a way to communicate?
At least 3?
Hundreds, thousands?
Maybe hundreds.
Okay. Well, so your family's only 100 years old?
No.
So how far back does your family go?
All the way back.
Mm-hmm. So from there, that's when addiction to approval started.
Oh.
And
because we're all connected, it's deeply ingrained.
Mm-hmm. I bet your skin color is probably the same color as somebody from 1,000 years ago.
Likely, yes.
Yeah. So if that's the case, how did that happen? How did you wind up in the color skin that you're in? Is it by luck?
No, by law.
Yeah. So, and if your skin is that means probably what's below your skin has probably some connection to that, and everything's carried over in memory. Wow. You started off with a memory. You're not good enough already.
That's powerful. I love that.
It's addiction to approval.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And you get to change that. And that's how this rewiring, this awakening can happen. You're like, that ends now. Yeah, but you're not good enough for 10 now. Maybe the next generation will do it.
Right. Oh, wow. I just got a new perspective on Catcher in the Rye, too. It's a story on addiction to approval and how he's calling out other people for being phony, but he's being phony himself.
Where did his phoniness come from? Some of these
His
things are learned traits
parents,
based, right? What does Joe Dispenza say? Your personality makes up your personal
personal
reality, or does your
reality.
personal reality make up your personality?
Um, they can be,
It's both, but
yeah,
you
it's
decide. So,
inversed.
yeah. How many people go to work? They get pissed off. They go home. They're fine. They go out with their friends. They're fine. Wait a minute. So your personal reality is making up your personality. Why do you go to work and be
Right.
pissed off? And why do you go to a bar to be happy? Because your environment changes you.
And then too, oh, that was another thing that I was gonna share. So bad. Change the way you look at things and the things you look at change, right? So I feel like I
Dr.
just
Wayne
wake
Dyer
up
was
and
brilliant.
yeah, because I was really, I don't know, I feel like I woke up to a whole new house yesterday. And so I was like really
You
just
did.
looking
If you
around.
thought that, you did.
And I was really looking around and I didn't realize. So my grandma's always had like calendars, and I used to be like really into calendars. We used to go and pick out different themes and stuff like that. And so I didn't realize along the way, I just stopped looking. And then the other day, I was marking off the days for my birthday, and then I finally looked up, and it was a calendar of little birds, and on the back, that's how what I posted yesterday was in short, I can't remember, but it said at the end it was like hope, joy, and faith. And no, it was grace, joy, and faith. And then I was like, it made me think of like my first best friend, and she's part Irish. She has like the nice, pretty auburn hair, and it made me think of one of the characters in the book, and just how free she's been since like, and how different she is from like when we were kids to now. And it's nice to see because she's finally really like stepping into who she is, and I feel like I'm on my way as well.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to
Thank
hear
you,
that.
Sean.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you too. And you know, we can hear that in each other's words. We mean that,
Yeah,
which is crazy, isn't it?
it is.
'Cause you're
Especially with the text when you said that, I was like, like, whoa.
because
Oh.
here's the thing.
Mhm.
What were we told as children? Don't talk to strangers.
Oh my, and that's funny that you that you that you say that, because I used to always joke to my mom and I would be like, I will. And she used to get like not mad, but she'd be like, okay, now you better watch out before they like snatch you. And I was like, Mom, come on. So yeah.
But I appreciate you, and this is what happens when we put down the barriers.
Yeah. It's
Right? You're this
amazing.
powerful woman. I don't see you as somebody, oh, poor thing. She's been broken and put up and just taught all these bad. There's so much you can teach us. Your voice teaches me that. High vibration, said with calm, said with joy. That's
I
what's
am
inside of you. You
definitely.
could have the worst day ever, and if I called you, you hi, Sean.
I really would.
Yeah, I know you would.
Oh my gosh.
But
I get
this is
I
because
get
the
that a
vibe.
lot.
This is because of the vibration that we choose to either send out, or we get to be around. But there are people that if you called and you were upset, you'd go, "What do you want?" Our personal reality makes up our
For
personality.
personal risk. Oh my goodness. And that's funny that somebody said that. I don't know. You said an old soul, and I think that's funny because a lot of people, if they see me and they get like that outward perception of me before they actually talk to me, I notice a lot of times they think I'm younger than what I am, versus when I talk to them, they think I'm a lot older than I am. And I just thought that was really interesting.
Well, we use that phrase old soul to confirm the fact that we're the avatar of the thousands of years that have showed up in this moment.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
We just never connected that. We just always say they're an old soul. No, they're hearing their avatars of thousands of years, and they're using that wisdom because someplace, somewhere in that historical genealogy of life, there's somebody that said, we will do better.
Oh my gosh, Sean, that's so, oh my gosh. The fact that you just said that, because yesterday I was watching The Incredibles and
Now there, everybody stop what you're doing. Go get The Incredibles because this will change your life. That's where they hid the secret to all joy is in The Incredibles.
yes, my grandma and I, and it's funny that you said that because somewhere I wrote Avatar and it just kept popping up and I was like, what? Oh, I said Avatar, Holden, and Winston. I don't really know what that means, but I have an idea. So I want to go back and watch the movie again. Oh, wow.
Everything I needed to learn, I learned where?
Within me?
In kindergarten.
In kindergarten. The basics, the foundation.
And when we complicated it. How many little girls in kindergarten? Now, if you're a pageant mom, maybe your kids did go to school with their hair done and makeup on, but most kids just showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of race, creed, color, money, status, we start to change and we start to have to fit into these things.
Yeah, I noticed that is that my addiction to approval really started when I got out of high school. Because I was one of those kids like who, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really care like what I had on for the day. I was just excited to be around my friends in school because my mom was very like sheltering of me. So like after school she'd be like, I want you home. I don't want you to get snatched. And I'm like, Mom, don't attract that energy over here. But yeah.
So just be aware and you'll start to see the triggers. You'll start to see the things you've become habitualized to that will, it's like, ooh, I used to do that. Imagine if when you go to get up from that chair, you thought about every step you were about to take. You thought about every movement you were about to take. Is it habitualized? Is it a habit formed from thousands of times of doing it? Or am I going to do something new? And when you start doing something new, you'll sleep well at night because you're no longer on drugs. You will have broken free from this whole habitualization and you'll be exhausted and you'll go, I can't wait to go to sleep. Because you've been in control of your body for the first time. And then when you start to understand that your life is filled with objects, from everything from the hat you have on to the chair you're sitting on, your life is filled with objects. And we pay no attention to the objects. How many times do we watch Indiana Jones that objects, they have these spirits in them, they have these sources in them. I'm not saying your hat is possessed, but here's the question. Do you possess the hat or does the hat possess you?
A little bit of both.
Well, when you decide which it is, then you'll understand.
Okay.
Right? Why do you have an orange hat?
I felt really happy today, and I've been attracted to the.
So did the orange hat? So then the orange hat possesses the joy?
No, the joy possessed the orange hat.
No, the joy was inside you, and you possessed it. But you picked up the hat, going, "Oh, I'm going to wear this hat." Why didn't you wear a green hat?
There you go.
This is the illusion we tell ourselves. I'm in charge of the hat I put on. This hat has a nice shape. I like it. It's here in my office. I pick it up. It possessed me. All right, let me put my hat on.
Oh, wow. Orange is the color of transformation. And that's like
an addiction to approval. I love you, Leo. But you see how we have values?
I was about to say it kind of
we do this with love. We do this with care. There's nothing wrong with that. And it could be true. But who told us that orange is the color of transformation?
Right. I was just about to say that, like, yellowness in The Catcher in the Rye is the transition between like childhood and adulthood, but
And where
he's
did the
just in a
landmark
state of
leader get it from? Hold on. This landmark leader, we put so much faith in landmark. Everybody keeps asking me, you must have graduated landmark. Do you teach landmark? I've never been to a landmark class.
Yeah, so a few years ago when I did, hello everybody, good morning. Hi the
good
guy.
morning. Hi,
Hi.
Leo.
Hi.
Morning. Hi, Leo.
Hi, what's up? What's up? What's up? When I was training to be a landmark leader, Jocelyn, who is a forum leader. So for those who don't know, landmark is a self-development and
It's a cult.
transformational course. It's like
It's a cult.
evolving. Yeah, it's a cult. It's an evolving program from the I don't know if the Est era, if you guys know.
I mean,
what
it's a
era.
good thing. It's no different than Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich or the Bible or anything else. It's a group of individuals who have learned some things, put a name to it, and then now all of a sudden produce some amazing results, and they came up with the name Landmark.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
Great stuff.
It's amazing stuff. I mean, eventually I did get out of it because of what I eventually experienced. But, at the time, my landmark leader was like, orange is the color of transformation. So on the day that we were transforming on Sunday at 4:20, she would always be in orange. So I got the addiction to approval of wearing orange. Orange became one of my favorite colors after that. Thinking like, oh, I'm transforming.
That's like you walking into a church and going, dip your finger in that water. It's holy water.
Hey, oh my God, it's so my mom
I
has
never
bottles of
got
holy water.
Listen, I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic. We had the water blessed. We had the water blessed by the Pope. We had all of that stuff. I get it. So this comes to say, listen, Linda, listen. If it's holy water because energy was put into it, maybe it has some healing properties. St. Andy Beaupré in Canada, Lourdes, people get healed there. Is it the water? Well, they found out the water has the highest magnetic frequency of anything that's coming out of the earth naturally. Magnetic water does some amazing things. But if that's the case, what are we made of? Aren't we 70% water?
Water.
And what are we listening to? Ooh, the whores downtown are going to ramp up. What? What are we listening to? Yo. And we use words that we wouldn't even use to call our kids. Aren't we programming the water in our body? Aren't we saying that somebody doesn't get it or they don't understand me? Aren't we programming the water in our body? You want to talk about addiction to approval? We say it every day. How many of you listen to the news? Probably most of you on here don't. How many of you listen to your old story at 70,000 times a day? Could you imagine if the news was on speaking at 70,000 thoughts a day? Not words, thoughts. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not tall enough. You're not good enough. I can't. You'll never do anything. I know what you're doing. You got an accent. You can't do this. You got hair. You don't have hair. Your hair's too long. Your hair's too short. You're too fat. You're too skinny. You can't talk. You can't see. You can't this. You can't that. When's the last time you said what you could do? I can smile. I can breathe. I can dance. I can sing. I can talk. I can love. And then somebody comes along and tells you, say an I am statement. I am a millionaire. I am a billionaire. Can you even tell me how much money's in a billion? We come up with these things to impress others. Why don't we start impressing ourselves by just saying, you know what? I love you. Anybody ever see the movie, What the Bleep? Anybody ever seen What the Bleep? If you watch What the Bleep, there's this actress who's in there who's deaf. She's a great actress. You'll recognize her maybe from West Wing or in different places like that. But What the Bleep was the start of The Secret. What the Bleep was the start of The Secret. And it talks about, and that's where a lot of these particle physicists, craziness, and all of these people talk about. That's where Joe Dispenza showed up. That's where he got his break, was in What the Bleep. And so what happens is there's a woman, when she gets in the water and she starts to write all of these things of love, of joy, of belief, she writes it on her body. If Emoto's conversation, hidden message, hidden meaning in water, is true, and just writing labels and putting labels on the jars change the water, just the intention of the words on the label put on a jar change the water in that jar from Fukuoka, Japan, the dam, the Fukuoka reservoir. And all of a sudden, the water changed just from I love you and hate. It changed just from the labels on the jar. What are the labels you're putting on you? Do you know what the thought is? Do you know what the mission statement is and the personal story is behind the manufacture of your clothes? If a label on a jar can change the water, can the label in your clothes change you? Ooh, snap.
Holy smoke.
Y'all get that? Listen, this is addiction to approval. You don't even know it. You're like, holy crap, you're kidding? So if you wear somebody's clothes that's negative towards women, yeah, geez, exactly. Leo, will you play music that doesn't enjoy, that you don't love in your dance studio? Somebody goes, I want to dance to this. You're like, no, are you stupid? We won't dance to that.
All the time. In fact, actually, I don't, when people walk into my studio, I don't even play Latin music. I actually play upbeat music. I play a lot of like funk music, James Brown, disco music.
Somebody called me, a corporate company called me the other day. And they said, you were on our corporate call. We invited you onto our corporate call. What did you see? I said, somebody had a background that pissed off every woman on the planet at a subconscious level. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, they had an image of an athlete on their background, on their green screen. I said, that absolutely destroyed a relationship with somebody in your company, if not multiple people, at a subconscious level. You watch a particular market segment. You watch this particular segment in the country, and you watch sales drop in the next week. He's like, there's no way. I go, okay, call me in a week. He called me back, panicking. How did you know? I said, because of the athlete they put up on the thing. How do you know this stuff? It's science. But it's science at a level of marketing that nobody's ever thought of. Nobody's going to pay attention of. They don't realize right now where it's such a hypersensitive area. Do you know why? Right. So, Leo, where do you think Landmark got the idea? Do you think they came up with that orange is transformational?
I question it. I'm going to say yes. I think they did, because I was trying
to go back. Listen, Leo,
yes.
Pull your head out. I love you. Go back and look at every monk. Go back and look at every temple. What color are they wearing?
It's like
orange.
Yeah, orange.
Landmark didn't come up with nothing. They got 26 letters in the alphabet, and everything's rewritten. Monks have been wearing orange since they could squeeze something out of a baboon's butt. I don't know where they got it from. What's the highest spiritual color?
Blue, no?
Purple.
Wow, I was close.
Right? When Lent is, what do they cover everything in church with during that? Yeah, but listen, I just told you that, so I came up with that. There ain't nothing new.
Wow.
That's called a cult. That's called these new churches that go out there, and some minister can speak his word, and he can stand up on stage and he can motivate you, he can inspire you, but he can't tell you what verse he just told you about. Ooh, I coming for next now, baby.
Sean, I have a question. Do you think that these labels is based off of an agreement, like in a societal, or I mean, of course, obviously, there's an individualized agreement on something, and then it perpetuates to more on a global scale, right? Like the agreement of red, yellow, and green light, stop sign. Like we all have this. I want to say societal agreement on things.
Well, there's some societal agreements, but some of it's based in, a lot of it's based in science. What's the most calming colors? What's the most calming colors to the eye?
Blue.
Blue, and what color's the grass?
Green.
Yep.
Green.
Wow. Who created the grass in the sky? I'm curious. What's the most offensive color?
Red.
Yeah.
Red.
Now, what's the color at night that allows pilots to see in a cockpit and not take away their vision?
Red.
Red. So what color allows you to see in the dark? Red.
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 Huh.
Right. But what color, what rage are you usually in when you see red? You're in a place you can't see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And they put that in cartoons too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cartoons are insidious.
Yeah.
Do you realize that the thing that Mason did with the sound frequencies, he picked sound frequencies that are embedded in video games and played that to the jar that ruined the rice. Just embedded in video games.
Wow. I'm so interested to know which video games.
All of them.
All of them.
Wow.
The same ingredient. What? Listen, you're the sales manager of Frito-Lay. What's your responsibility? If you're the sales manager of Frito-Lay, is to sell more product, which means we got to do what?
Make more product.
Well, get people to buy more product. And the way we get people to buy more product is, are we going to get somebody who's healthy to want to buy our product, or somebody who's overweight to buy 10 more packs of it so that they can put on 10 more pounds?
Right.
Yeah, the latter.
Right? So that's why we make Doritos that are spicy, Doritos that are this, Doritos that are that. If I buy Doritos, it's the original. I don't need the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how long a bag of Doritos lasts in my house? Till it goes stale. But why do you think they have 87 different kinds of Oreos? It's to take the person we got to put 1 more pound on every human. And if you didn't put it on and I didn't put it on, it means I got to find somebody to put 2 more pounds on. That's how I increase. That's how I get my bonus, is by making people more unhealthy. But we come out with 75 flavors, and then we put low fat, and we put all of these things that hide it.
Interesting.
What if we just took care of ourselves? What if we stopped digesting things that are like food that are of no nutrition? I'd really love if God forbid, but I'd really love if the cable went out for everybody. You know what kind of panic would happen if everybody didn't know what was happening in the instant of news?
None.
They will panic.
Oh my God, it'd be a riot. It'd be worse than everybody losing their job. We have this global pandemic. Somebody said it on our conference last night. They said, could you imagine 100 years ago if this happened? And it has. We wouldn't have the ability to connect. They said you'd be talking to people through doors in your house because they're the one contaminated. Right now, we've got people who get contaminated. They got a 14-day cycle. People are getting healthy. We only see people get wheeled out of the hospital every now and then, and people are clapping for them like they beat cancer. They beat this horrific flu that has a deadly side effect. But you know how many people got shot last night? We've just changed the perspective. Do you know how many kids went hungry last night? Do you know how many women were beat last night? What happened to all of that? No, now we got the global coronavirus. Let's stop talking about the things that wreck our society at a foundational level. Spousal abuse is up significantly. liquor stores are a priority. Liquor store are an essential
Yeah.
business. Liquor consumption is up 60%. Porn is up 90%. Spousal abuse is up 50%. How'd you like to be? I hope they don't come home. And now they're stuck home for a month.
Mhm.
What are we talking about that? What are we doing for that? What have you done for your neighbor? Have you checked in on your neighbor? The worst my neighbors on that side could do is run into each other in their little go-karts that they ride around in their house. They're little easy goes. You see how this distraction has now become the attraction? We're worried about people dying. 100,000 people died. Listen, if you took all of the deaths that happened from alcoholism, that happened from just alcoholism, from car crashes, it's a plane going down every day. Women from heart attacks, women from coronary disease, it's an airplane going down every day. How come that ain't making the news? We'll have 100,000 deaths. You know how many died from coronary disease? Women died from coronary disease because of stress. See how easy our addiction to approval changes? Oh, let's all talk about COVID now. What about spousal abuse? What about child abuse? What about the kids who can't be taken to the hospital because now mom and dad don't want to take them? You know what we're going to find out? You know what we're going to hear? We're going to see these people, these kids who right now are going through abuse at the house that are going to stand up and be the next giants, the next Dalai Lamas, the next Dr. Wayne Dyers, the next Norman Vincent Peales, because they're going to talk about this time in the life when they were absolutely on death's door and they made it through, and now they're going to be icons. Who's taking care of them now? How many stories are we not going to have the privilege to hear about? It's time to change your story if you choose to. And it's not out there. It's in here. It's inside you. We need you to step up. Need you to be you. You're the next savior of this planet. You're the next one that says, if she could do it, I could do it. If he could do it, I could do it.
So the idea of like yellowness or orange, whichever one you want to choose, is still in a state of misery in a sense because you're still attracted to the distraction, but you're like trying to break it.
Here's what happens to Kaya. Listen, the father of medicine, Hippocrates, realized that thousands of years ago, when somebody got a cold, he could put them into one of four categories. That's why every disc and every color and every bear and every fish and every squirrel type that you could be, it's four types. They knew this 2,000 years ago. How many thousands of years ago? Hippocrates says, wait a minute, there's four different kinds of people here, and I need to treat each one differently because they will take the medicine differently. Four types of people. That's why there's a disc, D-I-S-C. There's colors, red, green, blue, yellow. There's animals, bear, fish, I don't know, porcupine and whatever. I don't know the thing. But there's all of these four different things. It's four different because Hippocrates, this is the repetition of what we've already known. And somebody rebrands it, restyles it, and recolors it, and reframes it and goes, I got the new answer. You ain't got crap in a box. But people will buy it. So here's the challenge, Dekaya. If you're a yellow, three out of the next four people you're going to meet don't accept you. Welcome to addiction to approval. 3 out of the next 4 people don't know how to talk to you. Welcome to addiction to approval. I'm not good enough. You're not a red. I'm a frickin' orange. I'm a penguin crossed over elephant with a giraffe for a neck. I'm that species. Oh yeah, but you're different. Well, how do I fit in with you? You know what? With birds of a feather flock together, right? How come blackbirds hang out with blackbirds?
Because they're alike.
Because they're alike. So we wind up hanging out with people who are alike with us. Dekaya, you find somebody who's more energy, and there's not a whole lot of people your age who are high energy. So you got to make them up. It's why you come to this community. We're all of a psychographic, not of a demographic.
Mhm.
Listen, if we were of a psychographic, we'd be between 48 and 56 years old, white male, faith-based, Christian, and come on, let's go beat up on the rest of the world that ain't us.
True.
But I got a young, beautiful, black, strong woman who's in my community, laughing and giggling with me, telling me she loves me. What? Yeah, that's normal. Bring me some more of this, because this is how I grow. So there's 4 kinds of personalities. Absolutely. 12 horoscopes. There's all of this stuff, and there's tarot cards, and there's all of this stuff. I get it. It's all energy. How many of us have ever read a horoscope in the paper? We're not big horoscope folks, but we go, oh my God, that's my horoscope. I'm going to start reading more of that. The law of attraction says we'll find whatever it is and turn it into what we want it to be. How many of us have ever heard something going, I didn't hear that. You could take notes. Perfect case in point. Rhonda and I sitting at an event, taking notes. She's looking over at mine. I'm looking over to hers, and I going, where did you get that? She's going, where did you get that? He just said that. He didn't say that. He said this. How could 2 people sitting that close hear the exact same thing coming out of that guy and write down 2 different things? Leo, yes, absolutely. Question everything.
Yeah, that reminds
No,
me
come
of-
back. I want to see the hugs. I want more hugs. I want more hugs. I don't need to hear them. I just need to see them.
Sean, this is
not
my
sure what you're-
famous lady. This
Good
is her.
morning.
Good morning. I just woke up. Excuse my appearance.
No, okay, stop. Tell me your first name.
No
please.
problem. We don't care.
Right?
Tell me your first name.
Lydiana.
Lidiana. Hola, Lidiana. So,
Hola.
Lidiana, I want you to take that back. I want you to say this. I just woke up and you're lucky to see me.
All right. I just woke up and you're lucky to see me.
Did you hear her voice change? Do you hear how hard that is for her
I'm
to
an
say?
actor. So you gave me a line. I had to deliver it.
But thank you for showing up. Thank you for being an amazing soul. Thank you for all of that you do in the world. Thank you for sharing that smile. And what I really want to say thank you for is the fact that this moment in time of the incomplete history of the world, you showed up right now for us, and we're blessed by it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Sean. Nice to finally have a conversation with you. I always
Yay.
do.
Yeah, see, I do say nice things about you, regardless of what Leo says I say about you.
I'm still trying to figure out how Leo got out of bed with that beside him. Like, holy moly.
Aw. Hi, Rhonda. I know you are too.
You guys are making me sweat over here.
Yeah, well, listen, all I can tell you is don't take it off, because then the sweating will change places.
That's exactly right.
So here's the thing. It's little things like that Lidiana just said. I apologize for this. You do not have to apologize. You are a gift. Every one of you are a gift. Please take that back. We get set up. This is the addiction to approval. I just got up. My hair's a mess. You just got up. You're spending it with me. What a joy. What a gratitude. What's my expectation that you should be perfect and all dolled out? You're as dolly as they come. But we have this addiction to approval that we're not good enough unless we look a certain way. Your heart is the same heart under a pencil dress, naked, or under that t-shirt. It does not change. We are letting our personal reality change our personality. Well, my hair's up. I didn't do my hair. Listen, if you were bald, you'd be the same one. This is the moment where we get to choose in this moment. Listen, I show up with a hat. I show up with this. I show up with, listen, y'all get me. Farm boy from Ohio, goofy, not goofy, can't complete a sentence, can complete a sentence, or can go into a run-on rant like where did that come from? Start to show up with who you are. The world needs you right now at the level that you operate at. Don't ever apologize for it. If you choose to do no harm, you may say things that cause people to go, but choose to do no harm, period. You can't harm me showing up with your hair up in a bun or out of mess or this, that, or the other. When you start to speak from your heart, Paulo Coelho says in his book, Manuscript Found in a Crawl, no heart was ever injured on the way to its journey. But the ego goes, oh, I'm not good enough. Good enough for what? Listen, it's better to be seen than viewed. When do you go to a viewing?
When they're dead.
It's better to be seen than viewed. Too many of us are trying to be viewed. We're trying to get all sexied up for our death. What the heck for? Live life now.
I choose life.
I choose life. I set before you life and death. And then they give us the cheat code. How many of us have ever taken a little test in like Reader's Digest or something and we're like, where's the answers? They give us the answers. I lay before you life and death. Choose life. Choose life. Now, Lydiana, I know you were on your way to go do something. You don't have to stand there, even though he likes to hug your hiney. You can go do whatever you choose to go do.
You're being too much.
No, I just look at the smile on his face.
Oh,
like,
he's blushing.
Yeah, he is.
He's so shy.
No, come over here and listen to Sean. I don't care. I'll just hold you. Come over here and listen to Sean.
Guys, I'm blushing. We can't see you because I'm brown.
Yeah. No, we feel it. It's like, ooh, whoa.
You see you tugging on your shirt and all, trying to hide it.
I'm gonna leave now.
So here's the
Nice to meet
conversation.
everyone.
It's nice to meet you. Thank you for spending your time.
I love you all.
Love you too. RBP, what'd you pick up from this morning?
I picked up a hot flash watching Leo and his woman. That's what I picked up. Like,
You're so
ooh.
silly, Rhonda. You're so silly.
I just love
love
you.
I love you.
Can't help
I
it.
love you.
I can't even get it out.
You got him all messed up, Sean. All messed up. He doesn't even know what to do now.
I got to go back to eating.
Yeah. I got all kinds of stuff. You know, you and I talk about this a lot. We talk about addiction to approval a lot. And when I stop and think about things that happen in my life, good and bad, if I look at it through the thought of addiction to approval, it helps me to see where people are coming from easier and why I react the way I react. And I've got all kinds of different things. You know, my notes are going to be weird compared to what y'all were talking about. Some of them are on track and some of them aren't, but it's, you know, I want to know things like the conversations that I'll call you and ask you will be kind of the next level questions, you know? And there was one. So as you stop digesting things that you don't need, that are bad for you, what does it look like and feel like and sound like around you? What does, like, disciple me through that thought process? As I stop taking on things that I don't need, it's like I'm addicted to needing to take things on. So then what does that look like? You're muted.
So we're needing the resistance.
Okay. So
Right.
We can't just sit. I guess that's one thing that I admire about you is you don't appear to walk in a lot of resistance.
I used to.
Right. So how does that transform? How does that get to there?
I choose joy.
So that's what it looks like. So whenever you stop digesting anything you don't need, that's just sitting in a place of joy.
And an awareness. An awareness that in this moment, there may not be another moment. So in this moment, right? So if you studied Eastern or what Western Eastern medicine, and if you study these things about karma, they say the second before you die, the energy with which you pass into the next world will determine whether or not you come back. And if there's a state of fear at the time of passing, you're destined to come back and repeat the lesson. So as morbid as it may sound, what if I died in this moment? Am I coming back or am I in joy? What am I fearful of? What story is running through my head at a subconscious mind that would keep me from dying in peace?
So then another question I had was, how do you begin to recognize triggers to addiction to approval?
In this moment, what took me, if I was in joy in this moment and I enter into the next moment, anything less than that, something was a trigger. How many of you have ever had a cricket in your hotel room?
Yeah, drives you crazy.
And you spend the entire night looking for it. It's this tiny littlest thing, but in silence, it can make a whole heck of. Listen, I had a bat in my room one night. I don't know. Some of you may not have heard that story, but I had a bat in my hotel room. I'll tell you about that another time. And bats don't really make a whole lot of noise, kind of like owls. You don't hear their feathers are designed so you can't hear their wings flapping. Mm-hmm. But I saw this bat. I saw this something. I thought it was a person for a second. Block out the red colors on the alarm clock, the red numbers on the alarm clock twice. And I'm like, what was that? And then I saw a silhouette when it went over by the bathroom because the light was on. I go, that's a bat! And it was literally a bat in my room.
Where were you staying?
It was down in a valley. I was
in the valley so low.
In the valley down in South Texas, and it was at a Super 8 hotel, and there was a bat in my room. I opened the door and we kind of talked. He was coming back from the bathroom out to get out of the door, and I was running back to the bathroom, and then he came out. And then I was just about ready to fall back asleep, and I go, wait a minute, I wonder if they travel in pairs. So we just got to become aware of the triggers. And what happens is, go ahead.
So then it's very similar to everything else that you and I talk about. We have walked in it so much that we feel like it has to be a complicated answer to get out of it.
Oh, well, not only complicated, but here's the thing. How many of us, listen, I grew up on a farm, and when we would chop the corn up and you'd put it into the silo, the compression, everything, all of that juices would flow out of the bottom of the silo, and it would flow down from the silo down to the lake, and it would have this horrific smell. Kind of like if you've ever been up north or you've been and driven past dairy farms. There's a cow smell, there's a pig smell, there's a chicken smell whenever you go by these large factory farms. Well, the silage, people would get out of the car and go, what is that smell? And we'd literally go, what smell? You habitualize to something no matter how strong it is. Some of you may have lived near a paper plant. Some of you may live right near a train track. And you're like, what? No. Oh, I don't even hear that anymore. That's what's happened over time, is that the trigger has become so big, so strong, we don't even hear it anymore. And somebody like me comes along and goes, listen. You're like, I don't hear a thing. The triggers that have triggered us for so long have become so big, you don't even recognize them anymore. And so what it takes is, it takes the attention. And then we've got to decide how loud it actually sounds. When we get into silence, we can start to hear it. So that's how we start to hear the triggers. You got to have somebody that monitors you, because that's like telling a drug addict, listen, we're going to put you in a room filled with cocaine, but good luck on your addiction, getting off of your addiction. And we're going to hide it in the 75 places you've hidden it.
So this addiction to approval appears to keep my attention from me being able to take care of myself enough and love myself enough to see the promises I know live inside of me come out.
Mm-hmm. That's why you need somebody to ask you questions that allow you to change the way you look at things, right, Dr. Wayne Dyer? Because every one of you know how to get off your own addiction. Every one of you do. It's not my teaching. It's not my words. It's the way I've been able to learn how to ask you questions so you could see it. Every one of you that we've had a conversation with has said, well, I don't know. And I go, geez, that's a great answer. Let me ask the question a different way. and I ask you the question the exact same way, and then you start to come up with answers because RC says, tell Sean no. Does he hear it? Hear what?
So showing up, remaining in joy.
Mhm.
Those are some of the two most powerful things we could do.
Yep. Does it still show up for me? Do we still get fearful? Do we still get scared? Yeah, I do. I don't walk around here. Listen, if I walked around here in the way some of you think I walk around here, I'd have evaporated. I'd been at such a high level of vibration. I would have just passed on to the next level of
you're
life.
real. You're real. I
I'm
see
totally real. You have a backstage pass to totally real.
I know we have a backstage pass to both of our totally reals. It's a little scary. We should record that sometime, Sean.
Yeah.
People would pay money to see that right there.
Version.
I guess it always just kind of blows my mind. It's a small explosion most of the time.
Maslow said, be independent of the good opinion of other people. We saw Leo fall in love when his significant soul shows up, fall in love, smiles on his face. Did he have to go, oh, there she is, let me think about smiling. Hang on, how do I smile again? No, that's not a good smile. Let me smile. And then the touch, the physical touch, the hugging, the connection of hearts. All of this stuff happens at a habitual level. But what would happen if she came over and she was loving on him, she's rubbing his little bald head and she's scratching him and she's tickling him and his little foot is going like this, like the puppy dog. What would happen if he had no emotion? What would happen if he had no emotion? Wouldn't we call him, why is he being such a dick to her?
Yeah.
But then when they get mad at each other, well, I'm deserved in that. No, why are you being such a dick to her? Why are you letting your excitement to see her? Why is there any less excitement when she's not in the room? How come you're not enjoying right now the same way, the same feeling?
So that's challenging too. I know for a woman, it's challenging to be in a room where if your spouse or your significant other is frustrated with you, or maybe not with you, with themselves,
mm-hmm.
and you walk into that, that's a hard place to walk into to remain in joy.
When it's raining outside, do you go outside?
No.
Unless
you want to. Unless you want to get wet.
You want to get wet.
Right.
When somebody's mad in the room, do you walk into the madness?
No. No, sometimes you're blindsided by it.
Well, you're blindsided by it, but it causes a reaction to you and you walk into their madness.
Right. Right.
Why? And that's just as crazy.
Right. And that takes a lot of that. You have to learn how to back out of that, because you've done so well at jumping into it.
Right.
That you have to learn to back out of it, because just walking around here with me and my husband, there's moments where we have lots of friction between us, or he'll be in this mood and he wants things done here, now, this way. And I'm not in that same thought processing. And you'll walk around the corner and all of a sudden it just, oh my gosh, what did I just walk into? But here lately I've learned that I look at it and I physically look at him and go, I'm not walking into this. I'm going to turn around and walk out. You're not going to talk like that while I'm in this room, so I'm going to leave. And I just turn and walk out the room. I don't know if that's the proper way to handle that or not, but I don't want to get out of my joy.
How many of you remember my story of when I was 14 and the day I said I'd never have another bad day again?
Yeah.
Anytime that energy showed up in the room, what'd I do? Because I didn't have the capacity to sit in the room.
Yeah.
I had to leave it. Now, if energy is everywhere and everything, all right, my personal reality changed my personality. My physical environment allowed me to change it. I'd walk outside. The negative energy was still right there with me. If energy goes in equal in all directions forever and ever, the thing that pissed me off in the room is the same thing in the kitchen. It's the same thing in the barn. It's the same thing down by the river a mile away. It's just I had my environment to put me back in state, to allow me to stay in state, to get back into state.
Yeah. So then it's the same thing as we're sitting across from people. If you take this beyond personal relationships, it's sitting across people or talking to people that we're talking to as far as helping them with potentially with what we have, if it's a match for them. If you sit in joy, you don't pick up their objections. So I would venture to guess that the reason I haven't had any objections that I can recall is because I'm sitting in more joy. And if they're objecting, I just don't see it. Or I don't know how you would say that.
Do you ever see a wood chipper? That thing that when they're doing the lines or the right and they wind it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because that drum is so heavy. What kind of trees can they put through that drum chipper?
Any kind.
So there's not just an oak tree chipper?
No.
It's like small, right? They have to cut it up into pieces.
Well, some of
But
them.
any kind of wood.
Listen, if you've ever been to a wood yard, they'll take a tree that's 2 foot in diameter and chop that thing up in half a second.
Yeah.
It's just how big is your chipper?
Yeah.
Now, could you chop up a tree with an axe and turn it into little wood chips? Yeah, that's called artistry.
Right.
So here's the question. How big is your chipper for bullshit?
So maybe that's what I've increased.
Yeah, I just got a big ass chipper.
That's a quote right there. Somebody quote that today. Somebody make a meme out of that or something.
I just got a big ass chipper.
Wood chipper.
So that must be what I've done. I've increased the size of my chipper.
Because when they send it to you, when you see it coming, when you see the oak tree coming, when you see the BS coming, the belief system or the bullshit, whichever you choose it to be, when you see it coming, when you see that negativity coming, you go, oh, here it comes. Oh, it's joy. Look, it's joy. It was misery. It was joy hidden in misery. I love them.
Yeah.
Feed me, Seymour.
That's curious that you're saying it like this, because I don't have objections anymore. I don't get them.
Well, unless you call me.
I don't even know that I get them from you.
I'm helping you build your chipper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Go ahead, Ashley.
She can't stop breathing. Hang on.
So.
You working out? Oh, mentally, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, well, both. But is it, you either learn to tolerate more or your patience goes up, or you're just able to see it differently?
Neither. Tolerance means you've got to accept it and deal with it and go, they're an idiot. I'm okay with that. Patience means I'm waiting for them to improve.
Yeah.
Okay, I like patience better.
No, why would you wait for them to improve? They're just their part in your play. Don't do nothing. Be in joy. You don't need patience.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You don't have to wait.
You were a little girl at one time, right?
Right.
Yeah. Did you ever get spanked?
Yeah.
That was patience.
Okay.
Get better.
Okay. Okay.
But your mom loved you anyways. This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. How the hell is that possible?
Right. I always try to figure out how that was possible.
Because now you understand when you discipline. Listen, this is going to hurt you more than it hurts me. Me sitting here for 500 hours watching you all go through this pain. Y'all are in pain. I just happen to be in a higher level of pain because I've been there. That's why I sit here for 500 hours. How many of you are going to sit 500 hours and talk to people? Y'all get this? Some of you are going, oh, damn. Wait a minute. What is he getting out of this? Are you kidding me? He has been sitting here for 500 hours. You know why the mentor sits on the side of the hill and says, do if you can, right? Yoda, 700 years, 800 years. Do if you can, do if you must. There is no try. You're like, son of a, what does this crap mean? I don't know. Come back if you will. I'm no Yoda, but I'm going to sit here for another 500 hours. Hopefully that you get into glimpse into your own greatness.
If I can remind you, as I've reminded a number of times, that John Wellwood, in his book, Love and Awakening, makes the point that all of our relationships give us, the ones that we're drawn to, the ones that we find ourselves connected with, are those that provide the exact kind of battle, the exact kind of circumstance, the exact context in which we can do battle with our worthy adversaries. And the point he tries to make is, if we recognize that our partner is somebody worthy to do battle with, we stay in the battle until we can solve an old problem that we've had that we're trying to learn how to deal with. And in the context of that relationship with another person, it's the perfect situation in which we can solve that problem. And we'll find those partners across a crowded room. Somehow or another, we have the unique ability to pick out exactly the right person to take on as a worthy adversary, to do battle with. Because somehow or another, it puts us in a position to learn a new skill, to learn how to better relate, how to become a better person, how to overcome an old frustration or something that, an old wound that we had to, develop as a child or something like that. But every relationship, I've worked with people for roughly 30 years, and I've yet to find any kind of a situation with another person where we're not learning something from each other. And the trick is to just be patient enough to go through that 500 hours and figure out what it is that I'm meant to learn. I'm 3 times older than a lot of the people on this call, but I've been frustrated sitting here listening to a lot of, shall I call it, nonsense going on? But what is that doing for me? It's giving me the chance to learn how to deal with my own frustrations. There's something in my own frustration that provides me the perfect circumstance to learn something new. By relating to somebody, or maybe many people on the call, that somehow or another rubs me the wrong way. There's a lesson in that for me. And out of all the things I've read, I've never encountered a more universal theory or model than what John Wellwood offered in that book.
And in that challenge and in that battle with others, it requires us to get a little bit better, and it requires us to do more, to become aware of more. And that's the challenge we look for. That's every tree strains against the gravity of Earth. Every apple wants to get back.
And we look for it other than consciously. We're drawn to it automatically. We get sucked into it.
Yep.
And maybe many times, some of us go through a number of relationships. And what's that old saying? The pain continues until the lesson's learned.
Exactly. I remember Dr. Wayne Dyer saying one time, he when he would meet people, these new couples, and they'd come up to him for a conversation to have a picture. They paid for the VIP or whatever, and he'd go, "Oh my God, we just met each other three months ago, and we're so excited. We finish each other's sentences. We love everything." He would say, I'd say in my head, "They're doomed."
That's right.
They're doomed.
Sean, I just had a
Yes, Ashley, go ahead.
thought. So earlier in the week, you challenged me to go hug a tree, which I thought was probably like the weirdest thing. I really contemplated not doing it. But anyways, I did it. And from what you guys were just talking about, what I got, I told you that for some reason, I could feel how like sturdy the tree was.
Mhm.
But in my thought process, the tree couldn't have gotten that sturdy and that strong without some sort of test. And in that case, it was its environment. And so my thought process is, in regards to the people that we're drawn to that cause us to be reactive, is essentially the same environment that the tree had to go through to build its strength. And so in that, and in the people that maybe cause you to be reactive, because I have friends that are close to me that sometimes we bat and I have to go back and take a step back and try to figure out what I'm supposed to learn from it. I think that's the connection that I was supposed to make.
That's a very good analogy for what I just offered.
Yep.
It's this, if we're just willing enough to stand back from it and say, gee, that was irritating as hell, but what was I challenged with that I could learn from? Or what did I learn from in that? What did I learn about myself and my abilities, or my need to develop a new ability?
So Ashley, was that a good experience?
When, right now, or then?
When you hugged the tree, that triggered all of this other stuff. Was hugging the tree, now that you look back at hugging the tree, was that a good experience?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was weird. It was weird initially because I was like, why am I hugging a tree? But after I got over that fact, it was kind of cool.
Was it valuable to you?
Mm-hmm.
Did it serve you?
Because I also realized there was a lot that like you really don't realize about things that are simple.
Right.
Like if you never would have hugged a tree, you wouldn't know what a tree necessarily felt like. Like you would know it was there, but you wouldn't be aware of it.
Right. So 2 questions. One, RC asked, did you look around, see if anybody was watching you before you hugged the tree?
I did, actually.
So here's the thing. Just that simple. How long did you hug the tree for?
It's probably like a minute or 2.
Okay. So 2 minutes out of your entire life. Can you share with me how young you are?
I'm 24.
So 24. In 24 years, this is probably one of the most memorable moments of you ever hugging a tree, if not the only moment you've ever really hugged a tree consciously.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had all of this dialogue, and it seemed to serve you well. So here's the tough question, addiction to approval. Have you hugged the tree since?
No.
No. Why go do something that brought so much awareness and awakening to you? That'd be too easy. Is the tree still there?
Yes.
Are your goals still there?
Yes.
Now maybe you know why you haven't reached them. You haven't gone back and hugged them. Listen, if you want to get on the inside of this mentorship, this is what I do with my students every day, and they snap out of it rather quickly. Go hug the damn tree again. It's right there in frickin' front of you. How far do you have to walk for the tree?
Not far.
No. So how far away are your goals? Close as your skin. Why haven't you gotten either of them? Because you haven't gone hugged them. You want to sit there and come up with 85 reasons why you're the strong Black African American woman who's got brilliance, who's got skill, who's got talent. You won't go hug the damn tree. Ouch. But you've given me permission. Remember the question? Do I have your permission to make you feel a little uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah, that's number 2. Can I take you out of that uncomfortable feeling?
Yes.
Go hug the tree. See, there's a side to me that absolutely loves every one of you. Then there's a side to me that when you step across the red velvet rope and you go, okay, I'm ready. Help mold me. Those are the conversations we have.
Yeah, you are getting one of those conversations right now. Trust me.
That's so crazy.
It is so crazy, isn't it? And the part of you that's crying is your heart going, thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being on camera. Thanks for listening to Bob. Thanks for doing what I need to do. But now, wait a minute. It can't be that easy. Do you know how hard my life has been? Going to hug a tree again ain't going to do anything. You're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. That's why I can't force you to go hug the tree. You're not a student. You're a participant sometimes an unwilling participant in a morning conversation for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy because I almost didn't get on the call today.
Yeah.
But something was like, you need to get on.
Mm-hmm. That's your
It's
heart.
your heart.
Your heart. And your heart's going, do it, do it. Come on, just do it. All your friends are doing it. Your heart's going, I love you. Just do it. And your brain's going, no, you know what? We got to listen. I got to clip my toenails. I ain't got time to do this. It can't be that easy. You're right. Rich, let's move on. And Rich has nothing to do with money. Has nothing to do with money. Money's just energy. Money's no different than a fork to me. Anybody ever eat oysters? They give you a little tiny fork. Any of you ever eat steak? They give you a big ass steak knife. Why would you give me a big steak knife if your steak is so tender at Ruth Chris? Why do I need a steak that I could cut somebody's arm off with if your steak is as, because it's the visual. It's things you don't normally have. That tree is right out there. Guess what? Guess what? You will, listen, I may be pre-programming you, but when you start to walk towards that tree, you will start to cry this time. And the tree will start to cry. Because it'll say, I can't believe you come back to me. Oh my gosh, you changed my leaves. I bet you watch the leaves that come out on that tree. They'll be different this year. No. What runs through the trees? Water. You hug the tree. Oh my gosh, you watch the leaves. They'll sprout earlier. They'll be greener. They'll be bigger this year. And you know why? From a 1-minute hug, you go hug it again, that tree, I promise you, you'll hear it sing. The wind will blow through it differently. It'll actually create a whistle sound that you've never heard before because it says, oh my gosh, somebody found me. I've been standing here giving shade and giving leaves and exchanging the oxygen, and somebody came to me and said, trees don't think that. Okay, you're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. I dare you to go walk to that tree today and tell me you don't break out in tears. You're crying now.
I'll do it today. Yeah. And then I have one more thing, Sean, when you were talking about talking to the plants. So me and my mom are growing like a lot of plants right now. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy because I was talking to them because some of them haven't grown yet. And I was kind of getting a little impatient, but I was like, you know, sometimes things are planted and you don't see them growing. So just keep talking to them. And I was talking to them, and I kid you not, as soon as I came back, like I was telling them to kind of like reach their leaves to the sun. When I came back, so they were originally like this. And then when I came back, their leaves were like this.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
And I was like, what?
Y'all know the story.
Wait. That last sound clip of Ashley, that's the opening for every conversation from now on. I was like, what? That's your opening right there, Sean, for every conversation you ever put up. I was like, what? Just leave that sound clip, please, for me.
We're 2 hours and 23 minutes in. I'll find it.
Okay, I'm done. That was it. That's all I had to say.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
I just saw where sunflowers on a regular sunny day, you know, the seed pods, petals, whatever you want to call them, are normally oriented toward the sun upward, but on a cloudy day, they can be found to be facing each other and exchanging energy between pairs of sunflowers.
Oh, now you're just talking crazy talk,
Yeah,
Bob.
I know.
Oh, that's just crazy talk. No, it's absolutely true. Because they don't have the ego going, I wonder what my neighbor sunflower's doing over there. No, hey, listen, you're my neighbor. I love you. Let's talk with each other. Can we share some energy? Dumbass sunflowers. Y'all get this? I love RC. I want you in my audience, brother. You see, look at that. Addiction to approval. Check it out. High energy misfits, baby. Rock on. Is that how you do it? I don't know. Monique. I want to hear Monique Peters. By the way, is tonight the final? Is tonight the final episode?
No, it was last night.
Ah! I knew it was.
And you know what? It's so good and so related to this. So definitely go check it out, you guys. Mouthful TV on YouTube. Quick plug. Okay. So,
Mouthful TV on YouTube. Monique Peters, Mouthful TV. She said a quick plug. Ain't no quick plug for this girl. I'm plugging it. So go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I wanted to talk about yesterday. I joined this call a little bit late this morning, so I don't know if you guys kind of recapped on yesterday, but yesterday was so powerful.
Remember your question. Remember your question. Did you hear the addiction to approval in that statement? Did you hear it, Monique?
I didn't. What did I say?
I joined the call a little late.
Ah, okay.
For who? For who was it a little late? Compared to the rest of us. You weren't here. How could you join it late? When did you join it?
True.
You see what happens? Listen, this is the insidiousness of this, every single thing. So I just want you to know, I want to speak to your subconscious. You joined it perfectly at the right time to be able to share an idea, concept, or thought, or love that you're going to share with us right now, which is perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
I take that back. I joined the call just in time this morning.
Yay.
Yesterday, after our call, I was thinking about the call the whole entire day. Like, just one thought after another raced into my head. And I have two things to say, but one of them was that I was thinking a lot about the analogy you used with the, the script and your movie and all this other stuff. And I started to think, like, has anybody like ever gone to a movie and just walked out because you're just like, what is this? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't even get this. I'm out of here. You don't care that you paid money. You're out. And I thought to myself, if you never heard my voice, if you never saw my face, and they took the words from this call that I've said, and they put it into a script and gave it to an actor and said, act this out. Who is this character? Who do you see in these words? Would that actor portray me the way I see me, or the me that I know? And I thought about that, and I was like, that's such a good way to really think, are you being your true authentic self? Because if somebody couldn't see you or hear you or touch you, just by your words, would they understand who you are as a person, what you've been through? Would they portray you the way you see you? So I've been thinking about that all day. But then at about 10 o'clock at night, oh, this is the other funny thing. So every day I get up and I put on makeup and I do my hair like I'm going somewhere. People always ask me, what are you doing? We're in quarantine. Like, you should be in your pajamas and, whatever. And I don't. I get up, I get pretty to feel good. And yesterday at about 10:30 at night, I was just about to go upstairs and wash my face and get my cozies for bed. And I checked my email, and it's an email from my agent. And me and Gabby, my daughter, we have the same agent. And I said, hey, Gab, check your email because I think you also got this as well. And what it was it said, rush audition. Please read the script. We need you to submit this tonight because we need to turn it into the casting director tomorrow. So I start to read the description of the role that I'm about to portray. And it was so crazy because the role was basically a mother-daughter, me and my daughter, speaking about what it is to be a mom, how it feels to be a mom, how it feels to own the right to your body and to have control over the thoughts that you make as a mom for your daughter and for yourself. And I thought, this is so perfect because earlier today I was on a call listening to these beautiful, strong mothers talk about you know, the anguish you feel as a mom because the love for your children is so strong. So I literally just pulled everything from that moment, that morning, to be able to, and I'm like getting emotional now talking about it, because that's exactly the emotion that came up when I had to turn my camera on within minutes and like film this. And I said to my daughter, I said, how crazy is it that we just got an audition that relates so much to what we were talking about this morning? And she's like, it is crazy, Mom. It is crazy. And we got the audition over, but you know, it was just so amazing yesterday, everything that kind of transpired after yesterday's call. And I wish Heather was still on the line, because I wanted to tell her, like, her and I had a conversation afterwards as well. And her incredible strength is so inspiring, so inspiring. And I did tell her this over Messenger, but it's different, you know, when you hear somebody's voice and just everything she's been through. And I know like all the other women on this call were probably listening yesterday in tears, because they felt exactly how she felt leaving her son and not seeing him. But I just want her to know, and any other mom to know, that your story of being a mom, no matter how you think that you weren't good enough or you could have done better, is so, so important to people. It was important to me yesterday. And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Monique.
Thank you, Monique.
I love you, Monique.
Love you guys too.
Love you, Mom.
Oh, that was Gabby. She said she loves me.
Hey, Gabby. Love you, Gabby.
Love
Gabby.
you too.
Gabby's my favorite. You know, folks, this is what the world needs right now. It needs you. It needs you to listen. It needs you to be there to support. It needs you to be that person who can put your arm around somebody and say, we got this. Jim Rohn used to leave every event saying, let's go do this. He never said, you go do this. He always put himself in it. Let's go do this. We have an opportunity to engage the world at a whole new level. And listen, yeah, there's 7 billion people on the planet, and you should go talk to more people. Why are you worrying about the people who say no? The only world that exists is your world. That's the only world that exists. My world isn't your world. Your world isn't my world. Our worlds coincide with time and space and energy right now. We're connected. But the reality of realities is that Monique's going to go about her world today. We will circle in each other's world through time and energy, but she still has her world. You have your world. What are you doing today to make your world a better place? Is it telling a story? Is it an awakening? Is it okay if your world gets better? Is it okay if you go hug a tree? It's these little simple things. We think we have to do these big things. What I've become very good at is reminding you of the little things, of the 1% things. And if you do enough of those right and enough of those consistently, they start to add up and you start to tip the scales in your favor of never having to be influenced by somebody else's influence. At the core of all cores and at the heart of all hearts, what are you? Who are you? And sometimes it's the silliest, craziest, what seems to be the dumbest things, the proverbial go hug a tree. How many of you, when you hug your family, do you stand and eat with each family for more than 30 seconds, hugging them? If you can't hug your family for more than 30 seconds at a clip, how are you ever supposed to hug a tree for like a second? I would encourage you, the next time you hug your family, do it for more than 30 seconds. There will be a chemical change in your body you've never felt before. If you haven't hugged anyone for more than 30 seconds, hug them for a minute. You'll be like, oh my God, you will be surprised. Some of us hug our pets longer than we hug our family. Well, because our pets like us more. Well, that's a whole nother issue. Where's Gigi? Where's my little peanut of a Gigi? Hi, Gigi. Hi, Gigi.
Hi. I don't know how I feel.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Like,
Tell me that.
The whole time we were talking about
Don't come at me with that. Don't come at me with that.
the whole time you were talking about like the addiction to approval, I just have like a headache and my body like starting to feel hot.
Sure.
And I'm like,
so let's look at it. You had a headache. Have you ever had a heartache before? Why did you have a heartache?
Because I allowed somebody else to hurt my heart.
Mm-hmm. So you have a headache because who's hurting you?
Me?
Ding, 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 ding. Don Pardo, tell her what her prize is as she departs from the headache lane. When would you like your headache to be gone?
It's already starting to go away.
Aw, how that happens. I'm a wizard. Boogity, 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 boo. Headache gone. Now we're getting down to the heart. Don't do that to me. I'm not doing it to you. I'm doing it through you.
But now, like, you were just talking, and now I'm like questioning. I'm like, who am I?
Did you meet the Gina from yesterday? There was another girl on here yesterday. Looked just like you. Asked the same question. You guys should connect with each other. Hook up on Instagram. You can watch each other's pictures. Who are you? Who am I? Who are we? Who are you? Can I give you a starter of who you are?
Yeah.
Ashley, you here?
Yes.
Can you tell Gigi who she is?
You are a wonderful. Well, hold on, let me turn on my camera. Sorry, y'all keep catching me in the middle of working out. But anyway, you are super strong. You're inquisitive. You're intelligent. You keep questioning things, but you already know who you are. You don't have to question who you are. That comes through in how you talk. Now it's just a matter of releasing everything that doesn't suit you and keep walking into who you already are. You're already strong. You have an amazing heart. People can tell that by the way that you talk, and the way that you care. And I don't know if people told you that being emotional is a bad thing, because I used to be the same way where like I hated crying in front of people. And then I got to a point where I had that kind of breakthrough here and I was crying on Zoom, and I don't ever do that. It's okay to have emotions. It's okay to feel. It makes you you. And you don't have to walk around feeling like you have to be strong for everybody else when you already are strong and you already encompass really everything that you need. Now it's just you shedding away everything else that people have told you that you need to be, or you feel like you need to be for other people. But you're beautiful. Keep working. You're intelligent. Your heart is amazing. And a lot of women need that, and society needs that in general.
Okay, hang on just a second. Ashley, what did I ask you to do?
Tell her who she is.
Yeah, why did you do that? You just told me who you are.
Oh.
Ooh. See what just happened?
I can answer that.
Yeah.
You can't tell people who they are.
No, but you just told me who you are. And that's not a bad thing. If you believed everything you told Gigi that she is, wouldn't it change your life?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go back to 2 hours, 37 minutes, and I'd listen to that clip again when you forget who you are.
Yeah, I'm falling in love with you, Ashley. I wanted that leap. You were like staring into my eyes. I'm like, I'm leaning in. I'm like, stay away, stay away, stay away from the camera. I'm like, oh my God, I love her. Wow.
Gigi, but you heard that too.
I did.
This is a strong big sister who's
It's a
speaking.
process.
And we tell
Trust
it.
me, because
Go ahead.
this week I messaged Rhonda yesterday, and I told her for the first time I've actually looked at myself in the mirror, and it was something in a song that I was listening to, but I looked at myself and actually felt beautiful without having to question anything. And I think it's been amazing. I feel different, and I'm starting to feel different. And Gina, you're getting there.
Here's the real $60,000 question. Drum roll, please. Where was that feeling at?
Where was what?
The feeling at before you looked in the mirror? Where was the feeling at?
In my heart.
So the answer's always been where?
Here and not here. When I get out of here and I'm in
Go
here.
hug the damn tree. Go hug the tree.
Ashley,
When I finish working out, I will.
Ashley, you look different. Your smile is different. Your eyes are different. Everything about you is totally different. You were already beautiful, but now you have this glow, this shine, this attractiveness that's beyond the physical attraction. It's unbelievable the way you look today.
Thank you. And it's weird because people have been telling me that, like, recently.
Shocking.
But they
I don't know. But
33 years of studying this. I'm so glad it worked for you. Woo! Can I get a testimonial from you? Because you're the first one that's ever worked on it. Have I lucked out? Oh my.
Okay, I'm done. Hug a tree.
Yeah, go hug a tree. That's it.
Told you so. You'll feel its energy.
Yeah. Gigi, you got any trees around you?
I actually did hug a tree the other day.
Yeah.
And it was like a tree that my mother almost cut down because she thought it was dead.
Oh, did you talk to it?
Yes.
I got a story about that. So you hugged it the other day. Did you feel good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't do it ever again. Go cut the tree down.
Well, she almost cut it down because it was dead, but actually, this year, it started growing leaves.
So, was Mason born yet? I don't know if Mason was born yet. So this is probably 18 years ago. I was at a buddy of mine's house, Ron Getter's house. And I was walking by his house, and Ron and I, he's 20 years older than me, 30 years old. No, 20 years older than me. And I'm walking by his house, and we're golfing buddies. We go to Ireland. We're drinking buddies. So we pick on each other, right? Guy things, stupid things we do to each other, right? So I'm walking by, and so there's a tree, and there's his house, and there's about 5 feet between the two of them. And I walk by, and literally, because he had called me over, he goes, "I need to cut down a tree. I need your help on how to cut this tree down." And I'm walking by, and I didn't know this was the tree that he wanted to cut down, but it was like somebody hit me in the back of the head. I go, now I'm looking at him right in front of me. I go, "What'd you just hit me with?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" Literally, it was like somebody punched me in the back of the head. And I went, it was the tree. I go, "You can't cut this tree down." He goes, "It's dead." I go, "It's not dead." He goes, "You're kidding me." I go, "Dude, it's not dead. If it doesn't come back this spring, because it was like way late and it really looked dead. If it doesn't come back," and so we're doing something about 5 months later, not even paying attention, right? Because the tree's back doing what it's doing, didn't even notice it. And that hit in the back of the head was like somebody just grabbed me and literally gave me a bear hug. And I felt the vibration, and I went, and I looked up, and the tree's in full bloom. And I gave that tree a hug, and Ron's like, "You're just nuts." It will tell you, "Gigi, you got to go back out and hug the tree." No, but it's
and
not.
The crazy thing is, I told my mother not to cut down that tree.
Yeah.
And then this year.
So who do you think it owes tremendous gratitude to?
Me.
Yeah. So yeah, keep it away. Don't hug it. Listen, you love me, but you're in prison. Go hug it. Go tell it thank you for blooming. Go tell it thank you. Do you have a leaf from that tree?
No, I think it's like a fern.
Okay. Do you have a fern from that tree? Is it like a green tree? Is it like an evergreen?
I think so.
Yeah, go get an acorn from it. Go find something on the ground from it. Go hug it. Go tell it thank you. Go take a little leaf from one of the little green things off of it and carry it with you. Put it in your purse. Put it in a little baggie. Go, this is my friend. I saved my friend's life. Shammy, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah. Did you read your poem today?
I haven't. I haven't.
Cool. Read it.
I read it last night though. Again before.
That's a
before I
great
went to
answer. What was my question?
sleep late. Actually, it was today. It was like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning.
Okay. Did you sleep?
I slept amazingly about 3 hours. 3 hours.
Awesome. So when you sleep is the differential between yesterday and today. Would that be fair?
Yes,
Okay. So did you read your poem today?
I have not. But
Read
I
it.
will.
Read it to us now.
Okay. Okay. Let me look for it because I actually have it on my phone too.
Awesome. Has anybody told you how amazing you are today so far?
No.
You're amazing. I love you. Read your poem.
Who am I? I am joy above all. I am love that conquers all. I am strength that overcomes all. I am a child who grows and grows. I am wind that flows through it all. I am energy that fuels my soul. I am love that gives it all. I am the universe within us all. I am joy above all. I am giving even more. I am succeeding through it all. I am love that conquers all. And I did add, after I am succeeding through it all, I was thinking about the illustrations in a book. So after I am succeeding through it all, I added who am I again, and then I am love that conquers all.
Yep. Cool. So I'm not sure how you could have a question after that, but what was your question?
It wasn't really a question. I was gonna say that I've had so many aha moments, but since I've been on your calls and on Nino's calls, but I've been actually sharing more of my aha moments, and it makes you feel really different when you share it. And then hey, and then yesterday sharing poem, and I felt so different throughout the day, and I was thinking about the call all day, and then I shared at night, and I got so much feedback on what I shared, which was amazing. Made me feel so good. I couldn't even sleep. I journaled again after that, which I usually don't do. I journal in the morning and sometimes at night, but I journaled 3 times yesterday because after I journaled and shared, I journaled again, and I couldn't sleep. How good I felt. I couldn't even sleep, which is also uncommon for me because I usually go to sleep with the babies. So I wanted to share that, and then also about the addiction to approval. I know in many ways I'm addicted to approval, but I've never thought about it because I usually want to leave. I'm usually like a lot of people stay, and I'm usually one to like want to leave, kind of run away. So I think that's something I have to journal about. And then just to say thank you to everybody. I've been feeling so amazing. I've been feeling so amazing lately. I feel different.
And is that an okay thing?
Yes, awesome.
So who made the change?
Me.
So who has the power?
Me.
And is it okay if you have more?
Yes.
Who makes that decision?
Me.
And who takes action?
Me.
Okay, good luck. You're going to have an amazing day.
Yeah. It's amazing how it pours into it. Like I said, it overflows onto everything else. Even like the business that I'm in now, I've at first, basically the first month or a few weeks, I didn't get any sales or any feedback, and lately they've just been coming out of nowhere. And I know that it's because of
Funny how
what I'm attracting.
Anybody notice how quiet the kids are now when she gets on the call?
Yeah. Actually, I raised my hand earlier, but I had to lower it because I was making breakfast and the kids were being so loud that I didn't want you to call on me and then me not be able to talk at the moment. So I was like, I'll lower it again later. I'll put my hand up again later when I can.
Yep. Funny how it's perfect timing.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you too. Love you all. Love you.
Thank you, Shammy.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Brianna.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing?
Outstanding. We get to see you in here.
Okay, so I don't really have I don't know. I might have a question later, but I just wanted to say that I got on the call right on time when we were talking to Dakaya about addiction to approval. And I forgot what I learned, so I guess I didn't learn it, but it felt good at the time.
I love you.
And then my phone died. I got back on the call. We were talking to Ashley, and we were talking. Well, she was speaking right into Gigi and into the mirror, and I was like, "Wow, that's so amazing." And I thought, if I believed even half the things, even half the motivation, or like even half the things I tell other people, I'd be like way better off. But it's that self-talk. You gotta really check yourself. And then we were talking about hugging trees, and I was like, I climbed a lot of trees growing up. I've got a lot of fruit trees in the yard. Right now, the mangoes are starting to drop. They're turning green. They'll be yellow by next month. I'm gonna be so excited. But I thought about it because I was like, I climbed a lot of trees growing up, but I never once thought to ask the tree, if this is okay, or to hug them or thank them. I mean, sometimes I tell them I love you and I talk to them, but it was just different to hear that. Like,
Listen, the tree was in the most joy when it has children giggling and laughing in it.
oh man, then those are some happy trees then.
Well, why do you think their fruits are so amazing right now?
It was a lot of us. I had like so many family members, and we all like around the same age range. So we were all like picking genneps and mangoes, papayas, climbing trees. But I guess now I get to talk to them now that I can't fit up in the tree anymore. But
why do you think? Listen, in the Bible, again, don't quote me. I ain't no scholar or theologian. Almost said, but in the Bible, I think the only one of the few times Jesus gets mad at a tree, or the only tree, is the fig tree. Because they said, go get some fruit. And they said, there's no fruit on the tree. And he goes, how could there be no fruit? There's nothing else for it to do. So what fruit are you bearing? Why do you think a tree bears fruit? It's a joy. It's response to the joy. It's gratefulness. Why do you think a tree gives shade? It's thankfulness for you for being here. Why do you think Monique's talking about birds coming back and building a nest in the tree? You think that tree is happy? Absolutely. It gets to watch life. Gets to giggle when mom shoves the bird out of How does the thing go? Here it goes. Here it goes. I've been watching this for 1,000 years. Here it goes. It's going to shove the birds out. This is the greatest part. You got to watch this. I got a nest. You got to watch this. They're going to shove the birds out. They do it every year. It's the craziest thing. You won't believe it. Watch, watch, watch. Here it goes. Elijah, you got a question there, Elijah, or a comment?
Oh yes, good morning. How you doing, Sean? How you doing?
Outstanding, brother.
No, it's just something that it was an aha moment for me, because it's just like, especially the addiction to approval, and just like when you were covering that topic, it's like something, I'm still, of course I'm young, but it's like, just I've learned a lot about just my childhood and my life, like from your calls, and just like also the Bible, of course. But one big thing about that is like, I know that back then, especially when we were diving on the topic of just emotions and how they're very valuable. Just like, growing up as a man, it's like, especially societal, like the view is kind of like, if you show emotions, it's kind of like a sign of weakness in a sense. So it's like, I kind of grew up with this like impression that it's like, I wasn't very in touch with my emotions, because I'm thinking like, okay, just ignore that. Like, that's not going to help you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's like, once it was a point where God just led me to see that it's like my emotions were very valid in me understanding who I was and why I felt those things, and that I was truly in control of them, but it's like, it was necessary for me to express them, to at least get to that point where I could like take that burden off of my shoulders and essentially just understand who I really was. So it's just when you had mentioned like the addiction to approval, it's like, I remember like back then, I always really just felt the need to feel like I needed to like feel accepted by different other people, because I didn't really accept myself. So it's like, when you spoke about it, it just like slapped me in the face. It's just like, it's like, when you learn to truly accept yourself, it's like, I notice now a difference in me. It's like God led me to this point, and all, like, I have more acceptance for myself. And it's like, you magnetize like different people around you, just the energy that you vibrate, it just literally attracts like-minded individuals, people that just essentially lift you and uplift you higher to this place to where God wants you to be. And I feel like God really uses you for that reason, especially in my life, because like, something was telling me I needed to get on this call, like Nino. I didn't see it in his group chat or anything. It's just that I actually searched like for a previous link to find the call, because for some reason I just knew that I was like prompted to be here. So it's like, I just really do thank you for, the things that you do pour into me, because I know a lot of times it's like, you're just speaking. It's like, sometimes, a lot of times, even the people on this call, you don't realize that what you're saying really is what somebody else needs to hear, but also is what you needed to hear for yourself a lot of the times. And it's like, a lot of things that we do say, like, for example, when Ashley was speaking to like Gigi, it's like the things that she were saying, it's like, it's true for Gigi, but it's also true for her. And it's like, God is using that to just reveal it to you and to the person you're speaking to at the same time. So it's really crazy to just see how God is using this community to really speak to everybody that's within this, community. I'm really appreciative that I do have the opportunity to be here with all these different perspectives and all these different positive people. So I just did want to thank you for this, for what you've, allowed us to build here, and just everything that, we have here. And I truly love you. Like, I've never met you in person, nothing, but I can truly like confidently say without any like awkwardness, like to another man, like, I love you. You know what I'm saying?
I love you, Elijah. Listen, you don't realize the dude's been hanging out, and it's 3 hours. Where does a kid, and I say kid with love and respect, you're an old soul, it's why we circle in time and space. But somebody that's in this time frame of a body hangs out for 3 hours. Do you know how long it is to get like I'm going to be like a real old fogey, the younger folk?
Yeah.
Focused on something for 3 hours? Why do you think TikToks are like 30 seconds, a minute at the most? It's like, oh my God, this is a long ass. So Elijah, I want to speak to your subconscious and say thank you for being here. I want to say thank you to the human that's sitting there, to the being that's sitting there. And thank you for having the courage to share that. And I do love you. And this is the thing. It's all about a vibration. And you are this amazing soul that is changing the world. And I'm so honored that you choose to be here and stand up for you, for your generation, for all of the things that people said you can't do, that you're saying, that's their story, not mine. This is so cool. Yep, right at 3 hours. Hey, listen, y'all look at this. That's our girl hugging a tree outside.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at a tree that's in front of me, and I'm gonna do it. Like after this call, I'm gonna go do it.
I would, it'd be funny if we all took a picture of that and we put it on Instagram and we all said, "Here's what we were told by our mentor to do today." They'd be like, "All right, out of here, Audi 5000, check out."
What's the whole video thing where everyone's like passing off the phone to the next person and no one's around anybody? What kind of video is that? We could all like walk up to a tree and hug a tree and pass off the phone to somebody else and make a big huge. What is that? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
The Don't Rush Challenge.
Don't rush.
Yeah, something like that. Like we're basically, it's like one person is like, they have different variations, but it's like one person is doing something and then they like throw like a brush and the next person catches it, and then yeah, it's called like the Don't Rush Challenge.
We should do that. We should do a Don't Rush challenge with the Daily Awakening and all of us go hug different trees. That would be so funny. It would have to be someone besides me spearheading that. Be one of y'all that know what you're doing.
Do the video clips and send them to me and I'll put them in a video.
Oh, that's what it does.
Yeah, just take a video clip of you hugging a tree and then handing the phone off and I'll do all the video. I'll have the team put the video together.
Oh, that would be funny. I'll do it. My daughter's favorite place to be is climbing trees. She was in here listening for a minute. She didn't want to talk, but she was in here listening whenever y'all said trees. And she saw Dakaya. She heard Dakaya say something about, I love climbing trees. And she went, trees? Like, why? I guess I need to go outside today and I'm going to go sit in some trees, y'all. I got big trees. So I'm going to have some big trees. But I'm going to go sit in a big tree.
So we have 2 big trees in our backyard. One's Stinky and the other one's, what do we call the other one?
Stinky?
Yeah, it's because it's one of those Barton pear trees that when so we've just moved into the house and the thing was in full bloom and I go, look how beautiful that is. And I went over and I go, oh, the flower. I almost gagged. I had never smelled a Barton pear tree before. Beautiful. It sneaks you. It sucks you in, that beautiful little white flower. Well, God's got a sense of humor. Bradford pear. Yeah, that's it. I don't even know what it's called. Barton fart tree.
A fart tree, stop.
So we call him Stinky, and I go hug him and I go, hey, Stinky, I travel for the week you bloom. I know, we just take pictures, but I'm always here. I love you. Twiggy, the other one's called Twiggy. That's what it is, because it was a baby tree when we put it in. We call it Twiggy. It's now 10 years old.
Twiggy.
Stinky and Twiggy is our trees in the back.
I'll have to let Amelia name our trees and keep y'all posted.
Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. It's 9:30. I know a couple more. Daniela, you got a question. You haven't raised your hand in a while. What's up, girl?
I want to share with you, like, it's so funny. I have this tree. Let me show you. Wait, I have this tree that I can see outside of my balcony. You see it?
Yeah.
And that's the only tree that has flowers. Like, that's the only tree that is like blossom. So my husband was telling me last week or this week, I don't remember. He was like looking at the tree and he was like, do you think the other trees look at that tree and say like, look at him, that's the only tree with flowers? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And then I was like thinking, like, that's what happened, like, with us, with humans, like, we should just remain in joy, and just like let it be, and let just like, glow with our flowers. Some of us have different process that the other threes, and that's just fine. You know what I mean? So it's funny, like that you guys talking about that, like threes, and you know, it's
So
and it,
here's a scientific experiment. That'll be a triple blind study. Go hug that big one that doesn't have the leaves yet and see if the leaves start to pop out faster than the rest of the tree.
yeah, I want to do that today.
Do a double, triple blind study scientifically. Just go hug that tree. You and your husband, and go hug the tree. And then
Love it.
when the neighbors call going, why are you hugging our tree? Well, then that's a whole nother story, but you'll get to know.
I will for sure. Yes.
Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you.
Delia, you got your hand up. She may be back in a second. Brianna, did you have another comment, my dear?
Okay, I don't know, my phone keeps dying, but I wanted to share that last night was the first time in a long time I dreamt positive thoughts about myself. And then I always find that I hear my intuition speaking to me, but I never actually listen to it. So when I woke up from these positive dreams and I heard it, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go with it today. And so it said to get up and exercise. I wanna say that the mornings are like my most productive times. So I got up and I exercised and I felt so good, and I actually took a shower this morning. My niece is over there. And then I was talking to my best friend, and we were talking about addiction to approval, and I didn't even realize until I got on this call, and I'm like, oh, it makes sense now. I was telling her, I've been having a hard time with like procrastinating. Almost all my life, but I was telling her, man, I'm gonna finish 5 assignments today. And she was like, yeah, do it. And I'm like, okay, it's done. And then I got a call and I had to go do some paperwork for my mom, so I just got back home. But I was listening to you all in and out. And I just want to say thank you guys for being a constant. I want to say thank you to myself for choosing, because this is like the most consistent thing I've done, I want to say, ever.
Gigi's shaking her head going, mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I felt really good this morning. I felt proud of myself. I know that mornings are my most productive times, and I often wake up very early, but like my mind is always on, you never finishing this and this and this. And then I finally get to it, and it's like, I know you can do it. Why don't you just do it?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And you get to make that choice.
So I'm gonna finish 5 assignments today, guys.
Awesome. Guess what you get to do tomorrow?
Do 5 more assignments.
No, just tell us that you did 5. Tell us you did the 5, and we get to congratulate you.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Awesome. You're the bestest. Delia, you're going to wrap us up this morning. What last comment or question can you ask or share?
I can say that the girl before the one that spoke, I love the last one that spoke. I loved everybody. Harmony. The word that's coming to mind is harmony when we talk to others. And I'm saying that because I need to hear myself say that. Like you say, when you ask a question, you already have the answer. And I have a prospect lineup for Monday, and it is all about the art of harmony. That's what you're doing on this call. And you're letting every instrument play the tune at their time when they have something to contribute. And I guess when I go through my prospecting, I think I need to stay in that flow of love and harmony throughout the call. And I think of pies thrown at me when I hear the negativity, and I need to take it as a joke. Not that I need to laugh in front of them, but not to take it so personal where they shut me down and I cannot pose the next question to help them.
Delia, I'll let you in on a little secret. Can I let you in on a secret?
Yes.
You can't hear negativity unless you have it.
Yes. I noticed that yesterday. I said, she's going to ask me if I'm still tutoring. And what do you know, Sean? That was the next question in her chat box.
Yep.
Because thoughts do travel. So I also discovered that, or I knew it all along, but it was like, Delia, boom, stop. It's your mirror.
Yep.
Thank you for all you do. I'm
Thank
going to
you
be
for being
when I grow up. Have an awesome day, everybody, and you too, Sean, for all you do.
Thank
My
you.
heart is also listening to you. It's wonderful.
RBP, last thoughts.
You know, I wrote down what you just said. You can't have negativity if you don't have it. You can't have anything like that. You can't. If you have it, you'll attract it. So that is a perfect way to wrap this up. You can't have negativity if you can't feel it. You can't get it if you don't have it. So if we sit in joy, it's that easy. How can it be so simple? It's got to be harder. It's got to be harder.
It's just like pharmaceuticals. They can't patent anything that's natural, so they got to come up with something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't sleep at night. Get your ass in the sun.
Yeah.
You'll create the dopamine and the whatever it is that you go to sleep with, and your brain will actually trigger it. And from the sunlight, just sit with your eyes up to the sun for 5 minutes, and you'll sleep like a baby.
Mm-hmm. That's how come you can nap so well on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
No, beautiful call. I need to hug a tree.
Hug a tree.
And
I'm going to
sit
go
and
see
enjoy.
Twiggy and Stinky. I see him every morning, and I go out and I give him a hug and a kiss. Sometimes on Stinky, he's bigger, and we put those little eyes on him in the little mouth, and he laughs at me all the time. And I go, "Why are you laughing at me? You can laugh at me when you're blooming." But I talk to him all the time. I sit out there, and the dogs look at me going, "Are you talking to us?" No, I'm talking to the trees.
Your dogs know. Your dogs are so intuitive. And y'all, he's totally telling the truth, because I called him yesterday, or I was trying to get a time with him yesterday. We did a discussion just between the two of us on Zoom. And he said, give me at least 5 minutes. I'm catching some rays at the moment. So he wouldn't even talk because he wanted to sit in the sun. So he's not lying to y'all at all. This is what he truly does. It's quite interesting.
And the dogs lick my feet, and it's just, go ahead.
Well, the only thing I'd add to that is when you're sitting in the sun, take your shoes off.
I do. Yeah, it's barefoot. I'll go lay on the grass.
Yeah, get the rubber between you and the earth away. Get it out of the way and go as close to the earth as possible. I sit on a blanket on the earth. So ground yourself. No, today was good. I'm just sitting here enjoy.
There you go.
Happy.
Happy, joy.
Yep.
Okay, y'all. Love you tons. Appreciate you. Ashley. Oh, wait. Whoa.
Uh-oh. Ashley just hugged a tree.
Come on, girl. You got to tell us the rest of the story.
Oh, well, it's this tree. See the red one?
Yeah.
It's the one next to it. This one.
Yep.
Let me turn my camera around. Hold on a second. I teared off a little bit, but I don't know. Its leaves are different. I'm looking at it compared to the other trees. Its leaves are brighter.
How long is that tree? How long have you been around that tree? How many years would you guess?
Oh my goodness. It's been here since we moved to this house, and I moved to this house when I was 3. So like 20 years.
Okay. And when's the last time you noticed its leaves were different?
Today.
Sadhguru says, have the inquisitiveness of an earthworm. Sit and stare.
She's becoming more aware.
Become aware. Go find a leaf if you can, and just study it for 20 minutes and go, what is in this leaf? Do you realize the tree is in the leaf?
Yeah.
Is it a maple tree?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Grab a leaf and show it to us.
Does it have acorns, or does it have little seed pods that like little helicopters that fall down?
They look like these.
That's the pollen.
Okay.
It's like an oak tree.
So here's the
But
thing.
their leaves are so high I can't reach them.
That's okay. Wow, it sounds like a goal we have, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her neighbors gonna look at her like, look at that girl. She's in the tree now.
I can just hear your mom. Ashley, what's your last name?
Kreger. So it's like Kroger, but it has an extra E.
Kreger?
Mm-hmm.
Ashley Kreger, get out of that tree. I can just hear it now.
Yeah, basically.
So here's
Where
the
are
thing.
you located, Ashley?
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
So you've got this tree. You've noticed its leaves. Its leaves are different. Are they different? Were they different before you hugged it the first time, or have they changed since you hugged it? We don't know.
They just look different today.
Yeah. So since that tree's so far away from you, when do you think you might hug it again next?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because my room is literally like right here. So it's really like you come out of the garage and it's right here.
Yeah. But no, let's go to Barnes and Noble and buy 4 more books to read.
I don't need any.
Yeah. All the paper that has ever been written, that has ever been used to written, came from a what?
Tree.
So why don't you just hug it and ask it, what was going to be written on you anyway that you were going to teach me?
Huh. I don't
Sean
know.
go curveballs all day long.
We got to chop it down, write stuff on it. And the tree's going, if you just came talk to me, I'd tell you everything that would ever be written on me. I'll tell you the stories of eons ago. I'll tell you the stories of eons to come. Why you got to chop me down and make me a static thing when I'm a living, conscious, aware? I'll tell you anything you want. And if the roots are all connected.
And it's interesting because like all these trees' leaves are like high. Because you know how like some trees, when they grow, they have branches that are lower?
Right.
This tree doesn't. It literally, all of its branches are high and its leaves are high.
So the sun comes up the other side of your house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why. You see, the sun's got to get to a certain height before it can actually hit the trees. So therefore it says we can't grow anything till the sun hits us.
Right.
Everything will tell you its clues.
Ashley, you're getting like a $5,000 seminar right in your own backyard. That's awesome.
Interesting.
You realize this is in your backyard.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I feel like I learned the most.
I can't anymore, Monique. I can't anymore. I gotta go easy on us. You gotta go easy on us. Monique, but this is what happens. If you just stood out there for another 45 minutes or whatever time, free time you have, but you turn it into it's in your free time that you become rich. In this time that you have, you just look at the trees and you literally have a verbal out loud conversation and you start to ask them questions. Don't be afraid if you jump around and go, who said that?
Listen, I'm still sitting out here and I ain't got nothing but time. So this tree's getting all my attention today.
And watch what happens. Watch how the squirrels come. Watch how all of a sudden it becomes, right? There's coyotes running across the Golden Gate Bridge.
Ooh.
The earth will heal itself. Mason saw Orion's belt in the skies here in Dallas. With all the light pollution, saw Orion's belt. He goes, that's Orion's belt? I'm like, dude, I wish I could just, a half an hour from here, you'll see the Milky Way. You'll be in amazement. You'll never want to leave the dark again.
That's so weird. What are you
Send
saying?
Mason to my house. He'll love the sky at night.
Look at Ashley. Look at Ashley.
I know, I love it.
Where's God? Oh, he's up there. We'll just keep looking that way.
No, it's the weirdest thing. Like all these birds, I think they're like hawks or something, were circling, and then they literally like just disappeared.
Ashley, I don't know if anybody heard you, but I just heard you say, that is so weird. What are you saying?
Oh, what did I say?
You said that. You just said, what are you saying? Like, almost like as if you were just talking to the trees. Like, what are you trying to tell me?
I don't know. Because it's literally like they were circling, and then they disappeared. I don't know where they went. Huh. Interesting.
Isn't it? And this is all in your backyard. Thank you for taking us on this journey.
You're welcome. Get in nature. I like it the best. It's where I feel most at peace anyways.
There you go.
It's like going up to my mountain.
There you go. Well, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for taking me on this journey today. Thank you for helping me get better. Thank you for putting smiles in the world. I know as we continue back out into the world, I will be flooded. My family, I can't wait, will be flooded with smiles. And they'll say, you won't believe what happened. And I'll say, I absolutely know what happened because I've been working on it with every breath of every minute. Y'all are a part of that. Love you tons. I'm Sean Murphy, your head misfit. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
Love
Bye,
you guys.
y'all. Have a great day.
Misfit family.
Bye. I love you
Everyone
guys.
have a blessed day.
Bye. I appreciate everybody.
Guys, have an amazing day.
Bye, you guys. Have a great day.
Gigi.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Love y'all.
Love you guys too.